Are you searching for a deeper understanding of your faith?
Inspiring Philosophy is your go-to resource for exploring the rich tapestry of Christian thought.
From biblical archaeology to philosophy of mind, we dive into the topics that matter.
Our content bridges faith and understanding, offering insights into God's existence and the reliability of the New Testament.
Join a community where faith meets reason and discover the answers you've been seeking.
Inspiring Philosophy, where faith meets understanding.
I'm sorry, Master, but I must go all out. Just this once. I don't like you, Muhammad. Dawa boys, you've left me no choice. Bible's been corrupted, that should go the line. But you claim the same book, prophesize your sign, twisting every scripture, faking all the quotes, hiding all the facts, trying to keep your boat afloat. Without lies, Islam dies. Perfect preservation, yeah, that myth got wrecked. Worldly Quran don't even match the text. Used to flex science, now you back in the way, cause camel embryo facts don't hit the same today. Got the Islamic dilemma, you can't solve that. Every answer you give makes the problem snap back. Say the Bible's corrupt, but your own book cries. Bibles are Allah's words, they can't be revised. If Allah's words can't change, then your claims are fraud. You just argued yourself against the word of your God. In Jill's secret book, that's your mystery prize, but the Quran said Christians should judge by it. Lies, then your crew pulled muted like it's just a game. Ruined the life and trashed a man's name. All that dawah talk, but when truth appears, you vanish from the chat like it hurt your ears. Without lies, Islam dies. Can't hide truth, can't spin those lies. Without lies, Islam dies. Dawah cries when the facts arise. Without lies, Islam dies. Can't hide truth, can't spin those lies. Without lies, Islam dies. Dawah cries when the facts arise. We follow Jesus better, sure in your dream. While cutting out his claims like you're cropping the meat. Crown off his head, toss his cross in the bin. The smile for the camera like you're still his kin. Jesus was a Muslim, cute little twist. Redefine the word so the facts don't exist. If labels could change what the records prove. If Pharaoh was a Yahweh fan, then Judas stayed true. Muhammad in the Song of Solomon, boy, you made your prophet a fruit. Snuggled up with Solomon and came the man of Ozu. Without lies, Islam dies. Can't hide truth, can't spin those lies. Without lies, Islam dies. Dawah cries when the facts arise. You preach perfect text, but the proof ain't there. Half wash, even your readers don't care. Call the Bible corrupt, but still quote it loud. Trying to find Muhammad just to please your crowd. Song of Solomon, yeah, that's a fleshy fleck. You just wrote your prophet in the Solomon's bed. Then the man of Al-Zu came riding through all night long, and you say that's true. Jesus was a Muslim, the word plays dead. By that logic, Pharaoh bowed his head. You twist, you spin, but you can't disguise that every dawah claim was built on lies. Without lies, without lies, without lies, without
Yo, what's going up, everybody? Mike's gone, so there's one rule for this stream. Tim, what is it?
One rule is have no rules.
Dude, I'm so glad you knew exactly where I was going with that. And we have a very special guest today. He's actually a good friend of mine, the Lamb Apologetics. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, but he's a good friend of mine, and he actually debated Mohammed Hijab as well yesterday. So I know, logic, everybody's hyped up about logic. That's the sexy debate. But we did want to cover my discussion with Mohammed Hijab. Mike was very adamant this morning while he was texting me about doing this. And I wanted to bring my friend Lamb with me here. So if you guys did not see Lamb, just really quick, plug yourself, let everybody know who you are. I'm going to put your channel in the side chat. And while he's talking, you guys, it is logically necessary that you go subscribe to him.
Yeah. What's up, everyone? Lamb Apologetics. Also Cam for short. Yeah, my channel is just dedicated to just basic Christian apologetics, specifically dealing with a lot of like philosophical, analytical, and continental philosophy. And right now, a lot of contra Islamic content as well. As we're gonna review shortly with Mohammed Hijab. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Pretty small channel right now, just developing, but
Yeah. Okay. So Tim, you've seen the discussions. And real quick too in the chat, just like put a 1 in the chat if you guys have seen my discussion and Lamb's discussion while we're talking here and before we get into the film itself. Tim, you watched these. What do you what? Tim, you're fired. Okay. Lamb, you're Tim now. What did you thought? What were your thoughts about debating Mohammed Hijab?
I mean, to be blunt, it was pretty underwhelming. Like, the whole aura of like, this is the champ, this is the final boss of Dawa. And you kind of get in there and the explanations for their objections to specific things we bring up always seem to just relegate to obfuscation. They just kind of dismiss like a lot of our contentions we have. I mean, at one point, even though they agreed with you about like the Islamic dilemma not being a thing that you're actually speaking of specifically, they just kind of lump it in, dismiss it, and then move on to like the LPT. And it was sort of like the same way with mine. It was just they couldn't get past like P1 of an argument and then just kept going in circles until they eventually just dropped me.
Yeah. Tim, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but they got this magical ability to absolutely just avoid precisification of literally anything. Like clarity is like the kryptonite of these people. Whenever you try to define a term, that's getting baked. You're running if you are like, hey, that's probably not a really good question. You could be you're running. Okay, so we can't ask good questions. We can't clarify terms. We can only answer binary questions because that's, I guess what we're doing. It was like decided on a meeting and like on a Tuesday or something like that, I guess. And I mean, yeah, it's pretty much what it is. The entire game, that's all I saw is like, let's not get clear on anything. And let's accuse the other person of just weird wrongdoing for wanting to do that.
Well, Lucky, bro, you're not a real Christian. Okay. All right. So this is what we're going to do, guys. We're going to go over my discussion, or would you guys want to go over Lamb first or my discussion first? Tim.
Let's do Lamb.
Mine didn't have too much content to it.
Nah, bro.
To be honest, they kind of just didn't engage with anything. Bro. So
yeah. All right. So real quick too, Lamb, because you have a little bit more of an in-depth argument that you gave here that maybe people aren't really familiar with. So do you want to just try to briefly explain the argument from a bird's eye view so people understand what's happening here?
What a weird image.
Yeah.
Look at this giga Chad, bro. They're already terrified.
Yeah, no, look at those two. They're just not ready for it.
Yeah. I guess the argument basically is that Islam has this sort of dependency of moral domains on Allah. So what they mean is like anything that deals with morality ultimately depends on Allah, whether that's like Allah is commanding them or giving them some sort of like epistemic accessibility to it, or Allah has like an ontological sense of morality, which goodness is just of his being. What this means is due to the issues with the Quran's ontological status, which is biconditional. So Islam, Allah, and Quran are all sort of interlinked. If there seems to be an issue, which is there's moral commands that contradict each other in either the Quran or other hadith sources or any other sources they link depending on the school of thought, that would be a conflict with Allah's nature as well. There's like metaphysical implications in there that, I mean, we never got to, but at least in like the paper I wrote on it, like it does dive a little bit into that. And then the other aspect is the moral cognition is actually going to be epistemically infeasible. There's no actual real criteria in which we can discern with any moral certainty any like normative aspects. Like we can't actually understand if something is good or bad because there's no real criteria to discern that. And if you do think there's a criteria, that criteria would have to be a very strict divine command theory in which the commands themselves are the moral aspects, the moral properties. And then that's where you get into like the Euthyphro dilemma, for example. And I guess that's that's pretty much the gist of that.
Yeah. And if anybody is really interested in this argument a little bit more in depth, Lam, you said you have a paper on this, and just because of the nature of this stream, like now is not the time to unpack the full argument in depth. But if you guys want it, we have our Inspiring Philosophy Academy channel, and we can have Lam on there, and we can actually unpack this. Because I would say this is very devastating to Islam. I've not seen a Muslim actually give an actual objection to this argument yet. So let's get into it.
How are you, my friend?
Can you hear this?
I'm a little ill, so hopefully you can bear with me, but can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, we can. Where are you calling in from?
Yeah, so I know you said this can be something that can challenge Islam, and there's been something that I've even written a paper, not published yet, but it was on one of the ideas of the seemingly moral incoherency of Islam.
The what incoherence?
Moral incoherency.
Oh.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to, I can give you like the like sort of like propositional argument for it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So P1, Islam claims that all moral truths ultimately depend on Allah. P2, either Allah's commands determine what is morally right.
I just want to say this. When I watched this in real time, Lam, I was so jealous. You were able to get past the premise.
Huh?
And this will make sense to other people once they see my discussion with him. But
I feel bad watching it over because I just realized he asked, "Where are you calling from?" Not for,
You just
and I just went straight into like, "Yeah, shut up. Let's get into
Actually, I want to say this real fast. Actually, that was such divine providence, because the fact that you didn't do that. So I'm psychologizing. The fact that you didn't do that, you took the power away from them. You're like, yeah. I'm not going to answer your question right now. I'm going to go into the argument, and they're like, "Whoa, who's this guy? Like, what? Like." So you already set the stage, man. Like that was
bro, Giga Chat energy.
Or they express pre-existing moral facts that are grounded in Allah's nature. Also, it's grounded in Scripture. In Scripture, this is an implicit premise. It's just saying that Islamic paradigm would understand the Quran has a by condition with Islam. So if either or are false, then the other would also be false necessarily. P3, if Allah's commands determine what is right, morality becomes arbitrary. P4, if Allah's commands express pre-existing moral facts grounded in his nature, then his nature must consist with the moral phenomenon that we realize, as well as the phenomenon within scriptures, at least the epistemic bindings. P5, the moral, because the Quran is going to, at the bare minimum, regardless of how you might cash out like Allah's nature, the Quran is a epistemic binding on the consciousness. So whether you think that his commands are literally the moral features, or that they're just representing his nature, that is morality. Yeah, the Quran is the way
so
you know
let's take it step by step, because you've presented this as an Islamic sort of position, right? But the fact is, in Islam, you have different positions on this. Just like in Christianity, you have different positions on this. Right. So on the one hand, the Ash'ari school of thought believe that things are right and wrong due to God making them so, God speaking them in the scripture. Whereas, for example, the Atharis,
Look at this dude. Like, as Mohammed Hijab is talking, Lamb's, while he's sick, he does one of these things, like the Zoolander, like,
I don't mean to. Dude. Okay, so a little background. I had a pounding migraine. Like I could barely look at like my computer, and like I can barely like speak. I'm still like recovering, but the whole time my eyes are like twitching. I'm like trying not to like keep them closed. So I'm like raising my eyebrows all over the place.
I just thought it was funny. All right, let's keep going here.
Have quite a similar view to Aquinas, actually, and Augustine, which is that it's something to do with being linked to the goodness of God. And their theodicy of privation is that goodness, where it's removed from a place, then that's where evil is. And so, look, there is no uniform view in Islam about what you're talking about, just like there's no uniform view in Christianity either.
I think this affects all views. Any sort of paradigm, either you're Sunni, Shia, Athari, whatever you might be, this would still be applicable.
Now, I've just explained to you that there's different views on there's different views in theodicy in different schools of thought.
What does this have to do with anything you are saying right now? Like,
no, it's funny because
go ahead.
No, I literally just said, like, it doesn't matter like how many different like schools of thought there may be. They're all applicable because we're dealing with P1, at least contextually speaking, because they're saying like this doesn't matter. It's relegated to like all these different schools of thought and whatnot. It's like it doesn't matter what school of thought you are. The main crux of the position is that all moral domain, like regardless if I cash it out, depend on Allah in some way. And it's addressing Islam in its totality. And I think later I do give him like we can just go into like what your position is, or you can put whatever position you think is not affected. And then we can go through the premises and see whether or not there's one you disagree with because of that. But,
Insanity. Tim, looked like you were about to say something.
I was just wondering why Hijab brought up Christian examples of theodicy as an example of Islam not having a uniform.
The early Christians were Muslims. Tim, don't you know that?
Aquinas was really a Muslim scholar.
Yeah.
Different ones. There's different ideas in Islam about this.
Okay. I'm curious how this is going to correspond with my argument.
Okay, so you started off P1 something like all moral truths depend on Allah, yeah? Something like that.
Under the Islamic paradigm, yeah.
So what do you mean by that? Do you mean that they depend on him commanding them to be so?
Ultimately, all moral facts are known from Allah, regardless of how you cash it out. So you can say that they're from Allah via the Quran. The Quran, again, is an epistemic binding on the consciousness. And you could say they could be known through...
So is that an ontological claim?
Bro, hold on. Does this dude have his toes in the camera?
Dude, did you not see the guy slap his feet? That's why I was like,
what
I didn't realize that.
What is happening right now?
Wait, run that back. I want to see that happen. Run that back.
Yeah, watch him. He's gonna like slap his feet. Like he's like, get your feet off the camera, bro.
How do I rewind without like
is
having
that later or is that right now?
You should be able to use the arrow keys to go back 5 seconds.
All right, I went back 15 seconds.
Hold on,
keep going.
Hold on, there might be a hand in frame. I promise. Under the Islamic paradigm,
okay. Yeah. So what do you mean by that? Do you mean that they depend on him commanding them to be so?
Ultimately, all moral facts are known from Allah, regardless of how you cash it out. So you can say that they're from Allah via...
Hey, okay, look, here's the thing. Dudes do that to each other. That's okay. That's like a little loving gesture. I get it. Just get your toe sausages off the camera, bro. Like you're debating. What's happening here?
I know, distracting me.
Oh, man.
The Quran, again, is an epistemic binding on the consciousness. And you could say they could be known through...
So is that an ontological claim?
What, the moral truths ultimately depend on Allah?
Yeah.
No, they're epistemic or ontological. It depends on the Islamic view.
No, I'm asking you, do you think that ontologically that all moral truths depend on Allah commanding them, let's put that more specifically, is an ontological fact?
This would sort of, I'm confused. This would kind of be burden shifting, because what this argument is supposed to present is that whatever Islamic paradigm is going to be sort of attributed to relegate these moral truths to Allah. That's what I'm questioning. Whether I personally believe it's ontological or epistemological isn't really up for debate.
No, I'm saying when you said P1, that all moral truths depend on Allah. Are you saying that we know them to be the case like that, or that they are like that as a matter of ontological reality?
What is going on in your mind at this point, Lamb?
I'm like, how many times do I have to repeat this? Because I just answered that. I just said it depends on the paradigm that you're presenting. So if he's Sunni and I don't know, he's an Athari or something, like, and he has a specific I don't know, literalism, I believe they hold to, like a literalistic belief of the Quran, then like they may have a specific understanding of the presentation of the moral commands as it corresponds to Allah, right? So they may think that's ontological. And so all I'm saying is like, yeah, so like if you're a Sunni, you might think this is ontologically binding, like this, the words are nothing but mere utterances that reflect his nature. And that's what we would go on through the rest of the argument to sort of see how that, ends up unfolding. And he just starts asking me for like my personal views if I think morality comes from like God ontologically or epistemologically. Like,
maybe I can help out here for the audience to understand what's happening. So, Lamb, you're up here and you're thinking, and you feel like you don't need to precisify any further because like this is just your level right here. And he's like, sorry, he's not even on the screen. He's just somewhere down, right? So here's what you're doing. So this is actually a really, really good strategy for everyone listening. You can totally use this strategy. What Lamb is doing is he's doing what we call leaving it open, meaning he's saying, hey, listen, we can leave open what the specific view about Allah's relationship to the moral reality is. But at minimum, all Muslims have to believe that the moral domain or moral reality depends on Allah in some way, or like they like to say, in a sense, right? So what he's doing is he's leaving it open for the Muslim to choose what very specific view of Allah's relationship is to the moral reality. But all Lamb is doing is arguing, listen, the moment you believe that it depends on Allah in any sense, argument goes through. And you're doing an internal critique. So why is he asking you like your specific view on things? It's just not tracking. He's just tracking badly.
Yep. All right. This is basically what just keeps happening throughout this whole entire conversation, mind you. It's basically Lamb just being like, dude, I thought you were like this educated academic philosopher and you can't track just the simplest concept.
6 degrees, like, I don't know. And then like, I think the other guy, like, I don't know, I can't remember his name. Like he comes in and he starts talking about categorical errors. I'm like, oh my goodness. Either or, I said they can be ontological or epistemic. All moral facts ultimately depend on some form of epistemology through moral cognition. That can be granted, yeah.
No, because what it is that if all human beings didn't exist and there's nobody that existed, you can still have morality, right? You could still conceptually have objective morality without the existence of any human being on the earth, without any cognition. But what I'm asking you is that in your first premise, are you suggesting that the Islamic view is that things are right and wrong because God says them to be so?
I'm just saying that moral truths ultimately depend on Allah. Rather,
but what do you mean by that?
That's what the following premises are supposed to suppose, depending on your answer. It's not my answer.
Yeah, but do you believe that the Islamic view?
How did you not just crash out and be like, dude, it doesn't matter what I believe. What matters is what you believe, and we fit that into the premise. That's all.
I was nerfed, bro. I was so sick.
Oh my gosh, bro.
I think it worked out in your favor, man.
Yeah, I mean, you being sick, it made you keep doing that Zoolander, like, Chad face. So,
is that all moral truths depend on Allah because Allah said that they are moral truths. Like you throw this dilemma. You're trying to create something like that.
That's part of like the dilemma. Yeah, there's like two avenues you could go, but what I'm supposing with P1 is under the univocality of Islamic paradigms, it would assume that in some way moral truths are ultimately dependent on Allah. And again, as I previously explained, by ultimately dependent would be that moral truths are somehow relegated to Allah, rather they're ontological or purely epistemological.
In what sense are they? Do they go back to Allah in the sense that He says them and then they be, or in the sense that they're connected to one of His attributes, or in what sense?
That's what my
Lamb, does that question have any bearing whatsoever to do with your argument?
No, because it's supposed to be his answer, not mine. It's supposed to be his position on what he thinks.
Exactly.
My question is supposing, yeah.
Oh,
That's what the
well,
argument
the answer
is.
is this: the answer is that it depends on the school of thought. I mean, there's different ideas within Islam about that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Chad, I'm going to swear for a second. No shit. Like,
He finally got there.
this is literally what Lamb has been telling you to your face for the last, how long has this been? How is this the king of Dawa? Like, I'm a little pent up because I still have frustration from how it went yesterday too. And you guys will see why I'm frustrated. Anyway,
I mentioned some people believe in like a privation theory of moral ontology, and some other people believe in, for example, a divine command theory.
Well, I think the context would be we'd probably just sort of relegate this to whatever your view is, since you suppose, I would assume, maybe Sunni Islam would be the correct application of Islam.
Yeah, of course. But what I'm saying is, even the claimants of Sunni Islam have differed on this. People who claim to be Sunni Islam, Sunni Muslims, different thinkers in Islamic and Christian and Jewish history have had different ideas about how to solve these sort of dilemmas. So there isn't one uniform view on this. But so, I mean, I don't see how this is any.
Yeah, just real quick for the guy that's spamming this in the chat. This isn't working in your favor. Everybody knows you're just being retarded by saying this. And now what's going on is you have your king of Dawa that apparently just got intellectually molested by a gay guy. So I would suggest, for the sake of the Ummah, that you stop. I say that for your own concern.
I thought you were going to say, everyone knows I'm gay. It just doesn't matter.
Oh, that's true too. I mean, whatever. Even my wife knows I'm gay.
Religion either. I don't see how you can't make the same argument for Christianity or Judaism or anything else.
Well, this could be used in those aspects, but that's not what the argument is supposing. The argument is supposing that whoever I am speaking to, regardless of whatever their Islamic paradigm is, I'm supposing that you're going to answer based on those background commitments.
How is this argument not relevant to your religion?
Because the argument is directed towards the Islamic paradigm, as P1 states.
No, but that's what I'm saying. There's not one view in Islam about this.
No, and that's why I'm just supposing that you're using whatever view that you hold to.
As I said, I mean, there's many different views in Islam about theodicy, and there's different theodicies in Islam, and so it's not an argument against Islam at all. There are, put it this way, right? There are some Muslim thinkers who are more aligned with Christian thinkers than other. Put it that way. Do you see what I'm saying?
Are you? I'm confused. Are you saying that because there might be specific like schools of thought within Islamic paradigm that could reconcile this in one manner over another, that this argument somehow doesn't like hold any water?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Why does that follow? That he did not believe that. He did not understand that.
Say it again.
I say he didn't. I don't think he understood what I said. I think he just like agreed to it.
No, I know. Let's take a moment to pause here and just get into some super chats. Oops, wrong button. Sorry, Lamb.
That's crazy.
Or did I do that on purpose? Who can really say? All right, get into super chats real quick. Come on, baby, my baby girl lamb in the live. Proud of you, BB. Again, everybody, real quick. I'm going to do this again too. Putting Lamb's YouTube channel in the chat. Go sub to him. He deserves it. Come on. IP, what are your thoughts on Mary being sinless? Well, Mike is not here, and everybody knows that Mike is IP. I'm just Mike's employee.
Yeah, so Mike, sorry, never mind.
Were you just about...
Dude, yeah, and I cut myself off, so I'm not going to do that.
You're gonna have to get the belt, boy.
Dude, that was anyway.
What's your epistemic justification for that, Lamb?
Phenomenological conservatism.
Okay, based. Is Jesus 100% and fully God?
Wow.
Oh boy. I'm just assuming that's a troll super chat. I appreciate you. Lamb is such a beautiful man. This is true. This is very true. Are you ever going to put Without Lies on Spotify? I'm not in charge of that. I think that's in the works. Matt will fix it. I did the Matt signal, so Matt will fix it. How's Mohammed Hijab still? Oh my goodness. How's Mohammed Hijab still so obese when he's constantly running from his opponents? Dang, dude. Look, I'm going to take jabs at Hijab today, but I'm not going to make personal attacks like that. So, I don't know. Yeah. We'll move on. When are we going to get another episode on Inspiring Philosophy Academy? Tim, when are we getting another episode on Inspiring Philosophy Academy?
We got one coming up this Friday.
Yeah, that's true. So, for anybody that does not know what Inspiring Philosophy Academy is, actually, Tim, can you do me a favor and just drop a link in the chat for people to go to Inspiring Philosophy Academy? Yapping. Inspiring Philosophy Academy is just kind of like the more nerdy version of the channel. So it's a second channel, and it's a space basically where Tim and I are actually going to be just teaching and going a little bit more in depth on very specific topics. So, for instance, you guys will be seeing me talk to Mohammed Hijab on the Trinity, and you'll notice me giving a model of the Trinity that you maybe have never heard of before. And Tim and I actually have a talk with Dr. Joshua Sijawadi on that channel, kind of going a little bit more in depth on it. And there's going to be tons of examples like that. So this week, Friday, we'll be covering that. Some other fun stuff, too. All right. Some of Lamb's premises can actually be used in an argument against Allah's omnipotence. Classical divine command theory just doesn't work with philosophical theism. Do you have any thoughts on that, Lamb?
The argument does address his omnipotence, but I don't know in what way you'd suppose for that. But there is going to be arguments against his omnipotence in the actual paper. But yeah, I don't know what you mean by the classical divine command theory would be an issue for omnipotence.
Gotcha. All right. Let's get back into it real quick here.
On Islam or Christianity or Judaism on these matters, or where morality comes from. Does it come from the essence of God? Is it an extension of the goodness of God? Is it because God said it? There's different views in Christianity and Judaism and Islam on that. And like I said, that Aquinas and Ibn Taymiyyah are quite similar in their views. As an example, right? They're from two different religions, but they have a different view to the Ash'aris, who are divine command theorists, for example. All right, and there are some other divine command theorists in Christianity. So,
are you appealing to sophistry? I mean, I had to ask.
Oh my gosh, bro! Appeal to sophistry fallacy.
Yeah. No, I was really close to saying that. Is that a sophistry fallacy?
I love it because he kept talking and talking and talking, and you just waited a second, but you let it wait a little bit, and then you asked the question.
Bro, that was funny. Okay, this was also on my mind, but somebody in the chat asked this. Why is he so calm with you? you saw how he's acting with logic, and you saw how he's acting with me towards the end of the conversation. He was really nice to you, man.
I have my theories. I don't know if I should say it.
No, say it. Say it with your chest, bro.
Yeah, what's up?
I don't know. Maybe I'm not like the right pigmentation that like really sets him off. I don't know. There's something with like,
Dude, we've all thought that.
like, I mean, you hear how hard he says boy.
Hey, Tim's
like,
black. Tim's black, so I mean, it's okay. He's
Did you
he's
hear
here to
the
support you.
Bucktooth apologist? How many times he said that to Logic? That was crazy.
Man, it's wild.
That there is not one uniform Islamic opinion on this. But let me ask you this: you're a Christian, right?
Yeah.
So is Jesus fully God?
What are we doing?
Dude, we were given.
What your argument? As I said, it's not applicable to Islam. It's an argument.
I asked you for the inference. Why is it not applicable? How does it follow? Just because there's different schools of thought does not mean that it's not relegated to having some sort of moral absurdities. You have to give me a reason, a justification for why that is.
No. I'm saying you look. There are different schools of thought on moral epistemology and moral ontology in Islam, just like there are different schools of thought in Christianity. Okay, there are divine command theorists. There are privation theorists that exist within Christianity, that exist within Islam. So the misnomer that you've made the mistake in thinking that Islam has a uniform position. In fact, the mutakallimun, or the people of kalam or systematic theology in Islam, they refer to this issue as mas'alat al-taqbih al-tahsin, or the issue of knowing how something is true or false. And the Mu'tazilites had a view, the Ash'arites had a view, the Atharis had a view. They all, had different views, and within these schools, we even have different views.
I still need justification for why it follows that just because there's a sect of Islam that believes something different than another sect, that doesn't mean that this argument's applicable. I've yet to see a justification.
I'm saying there are some Muslim thinkers who believe in let me put it this way, right? You asked what you were saying is you're talking about.
At this point, dude, like, you should have just been like, okay, those Muslim thinkers you're just about to reference, I don't even care what their view is. How doesn't this argument apply to them?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly was checked out once he just was asking me if I think Jesus is fully God, out of left field. Like,
so you were just ready to give up at that point because it's just what's happening.
I non sequitur move on. Like,
how far are we? Like, how much longer do you guys talk? Like,
I think the other guy is about to join.
There's another like 10 minutes of this. Do you like?
You can.
Where does the
you can skip? I guess. When the one guy I think is by himself, because that's when he's like, that's when he starts talking about categorical.
This guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
No. But the point I'm trying to make is, firstly, you have a
actually go back like 30 seconds because I think he says something funny here.
Firstly, just to clarify, there's nothing about this that is unique to Islam in terms of the formulation of the argument.
It sounds like a non sequitur. I fail how to see this, how this attacks the argument.
You've just inserted Islam when you could have inserted Mormonism and the Pearl of Great Price, or Christianity or Judaism or something else.
Is there a proposition you disagree with?
No. But the point I'm trying to make is, firstly, you have a particular argument that you want to publish, and you said that this is something you want to put forward, and you said this is an argument against Islam's moral coherence. Didn't you say that?
Yes, it's specifically addressing Islam.
That's a false statement. That is actually a false, misleading statement.
How?
You heard it here, guys. This argument that was designed to address Islam specifically, the statement that is designed for addressing Islam specifically is a false statement.
The very statement, this is an argument against Islam, is a false statement because you could hypothetically plug in like Judaism and like Mormonism or something. Like, okay, I don't care.
My gosh, dude.
Was that a false statement? I don't see what inference you're using here to come to that conclusion.
You actually do see. I think you're a smart guy and you got caught out. So let me repeat again. Can you replace in those propositions Islam for Christianity and the Quran for the Bible? Yes or no?
No, not necessarily.
No. Can you take, for example,
Yeah,
you have the
it's got to be
argument,
yes or no.
can you replace in those premises, can you, whether it's coherent or not coherent, is deductive, is whatever, is sound or valid, we're leaving that aside. Can you take the propositions and insert, rather than Islam, Christianity, and rather than the Quran, the Bible? Yes or no?
No.
Why can't you do that?
Because one of the sorts of aspects of the paradigm is going to be the nature of the Quran. For example, I couldn't put the Bible in there because the Bible doesn't follow the same ontological or epistemic aspects as the Christianity.
That's irrelevant.
Islam.
That's irrelevant. So let's go to
Bro.
Look at my face.
Bro. Yeah. Bro. What is going on right now? You didn't fit his script, and so now he's like saying you answered wrong.
This is worse than like average TikTok Muslims, like unironically.
Actually, facts.
Man, people need to make, dude, you made so many funny faces during this conversation. Oh man. How are you feeling at this point? Like, just be honest. Be honest.
I felt like I could have took a nap instead of doing this. Like, he's giving me more of a headache. He's making it worse.
I have a headache right now, and it's getting worse.
Wait. Let's go to the different views.
Did you understand what I said? I'm
Yes,
confused.
I did. I fully understood. And you, in particular, in the beginning, the statement that you made is categorically false. This is not an argument in particular against Islam. It can be used against any system. So are they not different views of the Bible? Some people literally believe the Bible is the...
You know what I just realized? This is the same exact thing TikTok atheists do when you try to give them like a contingency argument, and they'll be like, that gets you maybe to a God, but it doesn't get you to the Christian God. It's the same structure of objection.
Yeah.
Now I'm more upset.
absolute word of God. Yes or no?
This sounds like a too quick way. Why do I care?
No. What's happened here is you came forward with your unfinished paper, and your argument was, I have an argument which is to show Islam's moral incoherence. You use those three terms together. All I'm simply doing is I'm saying that was a categorically false statement. All you've done is you've made a half-hearted attempt, which can simply be refuted by taking away the word Islam, putting the word Christianity, taking away the Quran, and putting the word Bible. And you don't want to do that because that's the same argument you're going to have to address.
I wish they would actually show how that refutes your argument.
Yeah.
Look at this, dude. It's just nonstop like frame mogs, by the way. Look at Lime's face again. Boy.
Well, one, even if I were to concede that, that does not engage with the argument whatsoever.
No, it doesn't. And I didn't say I'm engaging with the argument. We can engage with the argument later.
Yeah, that actually, okay, I'm going to say this. That actually pissed me off at that moment when he said that. Because I realized I wasted like at least like 15 minutes.
This dude said it with his chest. He's like, yeah. I'm not engaging with your argument. Like,
I think this dude's actually legitimately pissed off right now. I think the dude in the green, whatever his name is, I actually don't think he likes you right now, Lamb. Like, he looks like
he does.
This is personal. Like, yo. Like, you're in his head, bro.
My goodness, man.
Point I'm trying to get you, and you've half conceded it now, is this is not an argument that's particular to Islam.
It's particular in the sense it deals with specific aspects of the paradigm, yes. And I already explained that with the Bible and the Quran.
You're just repeating yourself. You're literally just...
Because I have to, because it doesn't sound like you're giving me any valid inference or justification for your position.
You're not justifying the very first point that you made.
I did justify it. I justified that Islam claims that all moral truths
ultimately depend on Allah. You actually just half conceded the point that I was making, which is that this is in no way, shape, or form a unique argument against Islam.
Why is that relevant, even if that were true?
Oh, wait, 1 second. Now you've conceded even more ground. You said, why is that relevant? I want you to substantiate
No,
your
I said
initial
if.
statement.
I think I bit, like, I was like gritting my teeth. I turned over. I was like, oh, man.
Oh man, it's what them 5 dailies be doing to you, man.
Yeah, he got like Hijab. I think he got up and left to go do like some sort of prayer. I think.
Got that lobotomy happening.
I guess like I don't know. I guess this argument must have like really had him stressing, and he was like, "I gotta go talk to Allah about this."
All right, we got a few more minutes left here, and then we'll switch to my discussion with him.
No, wait 1 second. You said, I have an argument against Islam's moral incoherence. Okay? Stick to that point.
Is it? Wait, I have a question.
Justify
Is
that.
this not an argument that is directed and aimed towards Islam?
That's not my question. You're answering a question I didn't ask.
Are you
That-
asking
Whoa,
a question? That's
No,
not
get
my
the yeah. Hold on.
question.
This is a freeze frame, not this one, but just a second.
Yo, what?
Yeah,
You
you know,
did
bro.
that on purpose.
No, dude. Than thought I was lying. He was like, "Is this real?" When I showed him,
Bro,
He's like, "Yes, they did
not do this on purpose.
How did Dan pause at the right moment? Bro,
it gets worse."
bro, what are they doing?
My gosh, bro.
Yo.
Yeah, pause him when he closes his
I'm
eyes
just
too.
I'm composing myself.
Muslims,
No,
this is
I'm
the
asking
rule?
you. Do you think that's what this is?
All right. Look, you're not making any sense. I'm going to get rid of you because I've asked you a very
Hey guys, but you know,
No,
hamstring poses, and your wife touching your butt. That makes you gay, guys. Just so you know, and
Yeah.
just letting you know.
Tim, did you not see my? I don't know if you've seen the thumbnail for the video I posted the debate. That's the one I used. Was that?
Oh, thank the Lord. I was begging Than. I'm like, he's like, yeah, did you see the thumbnail? I'm like, so you use that picture? And Than said no. And I was like,
No. Look,
Man,
I'm not
what's
returning.
going on?
I am not going to return fire with
I
that
am.
kind of stuff.
They wasted my time.
I have particular values that I will refuse to compromise on. Okay, so
Respectable.
simple question. If you answer it, then I'll go down to your argument happily. So I'm going to ask you once more, your initial statement that you have a moral argument against Islam's coherency. I'm categorically saying that is false because the same argument can be used against Christianity by replacing Islam with Christianity, the Quran with the Bible. Yes or no? Am I correct in my understanding?
And I already explained this twice, not necessarily.
No.
And I explained that even if it were true, it doesn't mean anything.
No.
for the debate.
You're not answering the question. You're weaseling around. You're whimpering around.
I'm answering you directly. I don't think you
No, you're
understand
not
anything I'm
answering
saying.
directly. Yes or no? Can that be done?
And not necessarily, no.
No. Look. We're just going around in circles. So let me just tell you something, right? If you're going to come here and you're going to make a claim, we're going to hold you to account to that claim. Your initial claim is patently false. Goodbye. Get rid of this guy. All right, let's move on to RT.
Did you say
That
W
moving past premise
at
one
the
is
end?
crazy.
All right, guys. Let's see in the chat. How does everybody feel about Lamb versus Mohammed Hijab?
Yeah, put
Let us
twos if
know
you
in the
think
chat.
Mohammed Hijab intellectually molested me.
Are you that intellectually molested? Let's see. Whoops. Projection. Lamb cooked. It was painful. Lamb mogged him. Yeah, bro. Everybody agrees. That was really disappointing, man. Like seriously, it really was. All right, let's get into some super chats real quick. And again, just real quick before I do that, go sub to Lamb. Link is in the chat again. Let's do some super chats and then we'll go check out my discussion with Mohammed Hijab. One of the Dawa main strategies is to focus on irrelevant questions or statements, even if you answered them. That was his main defense against them. Half of that was also including, actually, I'll save it for everybody. That's fine. People will see. This is how they waffle out of arguments. They just refuse to answer. He knew what was coming, and he knew he would get absolutely destroyed. This is your brain on Islam, folding on premise 1. Weaponized ignorance. He doesn't understand. You wrong. Yes, I call that weaponized retardation. It really does work. Because Lamb, like, how many times did you feel stun locked?
Oh, it depends on what you mean. Like stun locked as I'm
Like, he said
dumbfounded by.
something, so you're like dumbfounded by the stupidity that's coming at you, and you're just like, you are trained. Like, here's a really good example. Maybe like you're trained in martial arts, and you're like, you know how to fight a good fighter, right? But then you get some dude that like, as he's fighting you, he's doing like, and you're like, I what am I supposed to do with this? Right? It's kind of like the same thing.
I don't know. Count how many times I make like a funny looking face. About that many times.
Biblical Armor says, stop. Cosmic, stop stealing my #1 spot. Sounds like we got some beef in the chat between super chatters. I don't know, man. You guys are just gonna have to keep super chatting and see who just does the best. It still baffles me that most of these people, popular Dawa guys, are authori. They don't engage with philosophy. Also, so shout out Lamb, push that youth throw dilemma. W Lamb. Yeah, man. I am astounded by this. I don't know if you know much about the authori creed, Tim or Lamb, but it's once you know about that kind of stuff, then you're like, why are these guys arguing against the Trinity? Is Jesus fully God? Lamb shut down the Mohammed Hijab attempt to flee. Masterfully done. That was really good. I was proud of you there. If he imposes order on the world, no arbitrary limits means that order includes character order, which isn't CDCT, classical divine command theory, which I'm pretty sure Islam needs. Yeah. Cosmic. I'll link you and I up with Lamb if you have some things you want to share with him on that end. All right, let's go back into the discussion here. Here comes my discussion with Mohammed Hijab. I look like absolute trash during this, mind you. I was very tired. I didn't realize it was starting at that time. And so, because I thought I had like an extra hour. And so I just trained legs. Like during this, I didn't tell you about this, Tim. All the blood, it like, instead of like being in my brain, is in my legs. During this conversation. Like, you know, that post leg day feeling, right? Like where you're just kind of like
freaking literally, bro.
So man, this was painful, guys. But as always, Tim, Lamb, if you guys want to say something, just tell me to pause. Here we go. Also, actually, we'll just go as we go here.
Dressed, by the way, is it just Mohammed? I'm trying to be respectful. That's all.
Whatever you want.
Okay. Awesome. Well, so I'm sure you're familiar with the Islamic dilemma. Is your response to the Islamic dilemma the general confirmation plus conscious edits thing?
Okay, really quick. That's a simple yes or no answer, right, guys?
Yeah.
Well, the way I think of it is that the Islamic dilemma, as it's usually articulated, states that the Quran somehow confirms the Bible, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen it articulated in that manner. If that's what you mean by that, then I reject the premise in its entirety. I mean, the Quran does not affirm the Bible at all. The Bible is not mentioned in the Quran at all.
That was going to be a very interesting point, especially with Avery's debate.
What does this have to do with what I asked? Like, he immediately just starts monologuing. Okay, guys, by the way, just for anybody like that's unfamiliar with me, like I went in there in serious good faith. Like Tim, you've seen this. That face I'm making right now, I am
Oh, yeah,
actually
I
taking.
know.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're that face is the face you give to people when you feel like, hey, we're gonna have a productive exploratory conversation, marketplace of free ideas, whatever they say. Like that's that face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am taking in everything he's saying sincerely. There was no inkling of hostility in my heart during this. I was genuinely wanting to have a good conversation with the guy. Okay,
Mhm.
just for context.
And the 13 books of Paul are not mentioned in the Quran or the Hadith. And so I think it's a fundamental misunderstanding on behalf of the Christian apologists, which is why you don't find this kind of argument made in scholarship. You don't find it made in peer-reviewed academic journals.
Mhm.
And it's never been made even by Orientalists. You only see this kind of argument made online because it relies on the ignorance of the public, really. And it might sound like a great argument to some Christians who don't know about Islam, but the fact is, no Muslim is really convinced by this argument. We deal with kind of Muslims with doubts all the time, and one of the doubts that haven't come up is the Islamic dilemma, to be honest. So unless you want to make a robust articulation of this supposed dilemma.
No, I think maybe hopefully this will be a breath of fresh air to you then, because I find myself not happy with typical articulations of the Islamic dilemma myself. So
you're a Christian yourself, or what are you?
Yeah, I am a Christian. So
Yeah,
you
what was that response? I in hindsight, I don't know what the heck was behind the behind that. But
well, I know what it is.
Go ahead, Tim. Go ahead.
Do you remember when Mohammed Hijab debated? So this is elite ball knowledge. For those of you, I want everyone in the chat right now, like, if you recognize what I'm saying, I need you to comment ball. Because legitimately, if you know this video, like you're lit like that. Joshua Sijawadi, like 8 or 9 years ago, has a video on Speaker's Corner where he's debating Mohammed Hijab. And at some point in the debate, Sijawadi has answered everything he said, and he finally drops it, and he goes, you know what? He goes, this is what I think. He was like, you would make a good Muslim. You're smart. You're intelligent. You stand up for your beliefs. He was like, you should be a Muslim. And I think what's going on in his mind is, well, man, if this Christian doesn't think that the Islamic dilemma is good, then why is he still a Christian? He's like, like yet he's somehow still a Christian. Like, you should be a Muslim.
Yeah, actually, he might have been sincere for the first half of the debate. He had a twinkle in his eye. He's like, I can get this guy to convert.
Maybe. So maybe I need to actually clarify what I mean by I'm not happy with typical presentations of the Islamic dilemma. And that has nothing to do with me thinking that people like David Ward or God Logic or Mike or anybody else has bad articulations of it. Like, I still think it works. I just don't have the patience to argue about stuff that I don't think actually matters at the end of the day. Hence, my formulation of the Islamic dilemma, I don't have to discuss whether or not some prophecy of Muhammad actually predicts Muhammad. I don't have to discuss about conscious edits and general confirmations or any of these things, because if I can grant all of that and just skip the BS and still have a contradiction or some sort of a problem for Islam, why am I going to waste my effort? Why am I going to waste my breath arguing for something else? Like, that is all I mean by that phrase. And apparently I am clarifying because I have heard through the grapevine that Muslims are trying to use that against other people. Wallahi, bro, don't lie. I just like to argue for things that actually fundamentally matter. If my epistemic circularity problem that I've brought up somehow gets answered, then let's go back to the other stuff that we need to take care of. But all I meant by this, I think that makes sense. I don't have to repeat myself. Tim, Lamb, that makes sense?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe we can at least meet halfway there. So what about this then? If we reformulate this a little bit, because would you agree that the Quran is making the argument that the Prophet Muhammad is in prophetic continuity with the previous revelations? And I'm using that word to not question beg. And is also found in the...
Notice what I just did there, because that's going to be really important too, by the way.
In the scriptures that Jews and Christians at the time of the Prophet Muhammad had in their hands. Like, would you agree with those two statements?
Not necessarily. The first statement, look, I mean, the Quran says in chapter number 46, verse number 8, it says, قُلْ مَا كُنْتُ بِدْعًا مِنَ الرُّسُلِ وَمَا كُنْتُ أَدْرِي مَا يُفْعَلُ بِي وَلَا بِكُمْ إِنْ أَتَّبِعُ إِلَّا مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْهِ. That I was not something new from the prophets, and I don't know what's going to happen to me or to you, and I only follow that which is revealed to me. So the fact that the Prophet ﷺ is something new, I mean, this is something the Quran clearly demarcates itself from. In other words, all of the prophets came with the same message and the same understanding. We believe that Abraham came with the same message, to believe in one God and worship one God. That Moses came with that. They didn't believe in a triune God, for example, didn't believe in Trinity, didn't believe in the Holy Ghost as God, or co-eternal. They all believed in one God. And in that respect, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ also believed in one God, and he called people to that. And so from that perspective, there is a continuity. But if you're talking about the presupposition that, you know, we believe in the Bible, for example, we believe that that's a revelation of no, we don't believe in the book. As I say, that the Bible is composed of different books. And
now, remember, I said I specifically signposted, hey, I chose the word revelation there as to not question beg for the Bible. He just wasn't even listening to anything I had to say, apparently, right? Like,
as you're aware of this, right? That some of those books are from Paul. Like 13 books of the Bible are Paul's books. There's no way that the Quran is confirming the books of Paul. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. I'm not saying that. There's a reason why I chose the word revelation there, is to not question beg for the position that you think it's the Bible or anything like that. Is that fair? But minimally speaking, whatever the previous prophets, whatever revelation they were given.
I think the Quran makes it clear. Sorry to cut you off on it.
No, it's okay.
But I think the Quran makes it clear that some aspects of the Torah and Injil were still in the hands of the Christians and the Jews. Some aspects, some parts of it. Okay. But it doesn't make it clear that all of it is in the hands of the Christians and Jews.
Yep.
Like, I think what you're referring to is...
I agree.
Yeah. So for instance, like, يَجِدُونَهُ مَكْتُوبًا عِنْدَهُمْ فِي التَّوْرَاةِ وَالْإِنْجِيلِ, that they see him written with them, you know? So it kind of, there's lots of sort of verses and hadith that indicate that there's something within the hands of Jews and Christians which amounts to aspects of the Torah and the Injil. I think where the problem is a lot of people believe that just because aspects or parts of the Quran, of the Torah and the Injil are affirmed by the Quran, that all of it is. Okay, now that's clearly not the case. I mean, this is the opinion of the overwhelming vast majority of scholars in the medieval period, that they all believed that, you know,
I'm gonna have to do this, you guys, because literally,
had in their time were not, in fact, preserved. For example, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani mentions that quite clearly in his Fath al-Bari. He says that, you know,
it's just a yapathon, guys. Like, seriously,
in their hands today are preserved. So it's aspects, and I think what the issue is a lot of people believe, because, for example, يَجِدُونَهُ مَكْتُوبًا عِنْدَهُمْ فِي التَّوْرَاةِ وَالْإِنْجِيلِ, they see him written with them in the Torah and Injil. They say, okay, well, there's some hadith of somebody reading Torah, and it's referred to in a generic sense, Torah, even though we believe it's muharraf. They say, well, so why is it referred to in a generic sense? To which I respond and say, the Quran does that frequently. Quran, for example, in chapter number 71, it says, you know, about Noah, when he
ask a question,
people, the message of God, that they would.
You say something, Lam?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did he mention anything at all that's addressing your point?
No. In fact, he's not even heard anything. He's not heard my argument at this point. All he knows, here's what's happened so far. I've asked him, do you take the general confirmation plus conscious edits approach to the Islamic dilemma? 10 minutes later, then I'm like, okay, great. Do you affirm these propositions? Well, no, I wasn't paying attention to anything you just said. And then let me monologue again for another like 10 minutes. And he still hasn't even heard my argument yet because he just keeps on monologuing. But even though I've already told him I have a different formulation of the argument, in hindsight, I wish I would have been more assertive at this point. I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be courteous and give space and all that stuff. I don't know. I'm a little jaded by this because it started off really, really respectful. And for those of you that have already seen it, you'll see what happens.
أصابعهم في آذانهم واستغشوا ثيابهم وأصروا واستكبروا استكبارا. That they would put their fingers into their ears. Now, it's not the entire finger they're putting in the ear, it's a part of the finger. But the Arabic word used is for the entire finger. Likewise, in chapter 12 of the Quran, it's mentioned, فَاسْأَلُوا الْقَرْيَةَ, ask the town. It's not every person in the town that you're asking, it's some of the town. What the town mentioned. Likewise, it says that it's not all of the Torah that's there with them, but it's aspects of it. If I said England won the football match, okay, or the United States won the baseball match, whatever it is, yeah, it's not every single member, it's not every single person inside.
Oh my goodness.
The United
Okay,
States
like literally, guys,
America.
this is just how it is. So I'm gonna just skip forward. Keep skipping.
To them for
Keep
what this
skipping.
is changing the act. None of the
Keep skipping because none of this has to do with my
it's
argument.
just and
You guys see how much I'm
disagree with
skipping?
the so I
Just before we have the Pearl of Great Price written by Joseph Smith. Right?
Now we're talking about Joseph Smith,
If
guys.
a Mormon was
I
to
still haven't been
ask
able
a
to actually give
Muslim
out my
the same
argument.
thing, difference would that be?
Just to be clear, I have a formulation that kind of grants everything that you're saying, because my concern is that if we say that at the time of the Prophet Muhammad that the scriptures in the hands of the Jews and Christians are corrupt, and that the Quran is not confirming the totality of those scriptures, but only the certain parts of them, I still think we might have an epistemic problem, if that makes sense.
Okay, so just before that, could you address this point, because it's linked to your epistemic point? Do you agree that argument by a Mormon using the Pearl of Great Price would be the fallacy of composition, meaning what's true for the individual is true for the whole? Would you concede that point when it comes to the Mormon challenge to Islam?
I'm not familiar with the Mormon challenge to Islam is.
Okay, but for example, would you, the Pearl of Great Price is based upon
This has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
And it's not linked to the epistemic issue whatsoever. Like not even in the slightest. Like I don't know what they're thinking when they say that.
We'll say it again.
Oh, I was saying I don't know what he's thinking when he says that. Like I don't know if he thought, like, if he just like repeated what you said, that it was gonna convince you to like just like sit there and listen to him like yap on more, or like what.
Yeah, I have no clue. I have no clue what's going through their head right now, to be honest with you, because they still haven't like heard my argument. Like
Smith. So a lot of the stories are the same as what you get in the Bible, and of course there's a overlap with the Quran. So using that,
I just want to point out, like, I started at the 7-minute mark and we're almost at the 20-minute mark. The overwhelming majority of this has been monologues so far.
as a basis, wouldn't that fall into the fallacy of composition if someone used that as an argument? Would you agree with that point?
Yeah, I would say if they're arguing that the word confirmation just necessarily entails a holistic confirmation, then that would be fallacious, right? You would want to motivate that.
What's the argument that you had, Than? You were going to articulate it.
W Hijab.
Yeah, no,
everybody W
thank you.
Hijab in the chat for that one.
So, and I'm generally just curious because I've put out this argument a few months ago and I haven't had any interaction on it, and I actually want some. That's all. So the basic idea is, if at the time of the Prophet Muhammad, the Torah and the Gospel in the hands of the Jews and Christians is corrupted, but the Quran in Muhammad's argument for his prophethood is that for instance, you can find descriptions of him in the scriptures that they have in their own hands,
Sure.
then there seems to have to be some sort of non-circular way for the Jews and Christians at the time of Muhammad to know which parts are true and which parts are not true, or corrupted and not corrupted. Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying. That there are some ways in which you can find out which parts are not corrupted from the Bible that you have in your hands. So, for instance, the existence of a individual called Moses or Joseph or Abraham. Obviously, we Muslims believe in that despite it being in the Old Testament, because it's also in the Quran. And so we would not say that the existence of these characters is a corrupted aspect of the Old Testament. And likewise, if there are, descriptions of the Prophet Muhammad in the Old Testament or the New Testament or in any other scripture, which amount to what he actually is. For example, many people would cite chapter 42, verse 11 of Isaiah, which talks about the people of Kedar. And they say that, who are the people of Kedar? According to Genesis, it's the Arabs, it's the sons of Ismail. And the Mount Salah, and they say, where's that? Well, it's in Medina. So that's a very, very specific identification of a prophet that's going to come in the future, that's going to be from a country where Jesus never went. So they look at chapter 42, verse 11, as an example. Other people have been using Daniel 2 now as another example of that, and other such examples.
Right.
Okay, so
I'm familiar.
So for context here, what he's trying to do is say that we can figure out what parts of the previous scriptures are actually like true revelation versus corrupted based off of what Muhammad actually fulfills and whatever agrees with the Quran. Guys, that is circular. That is still circular, and the problem is still there. And so I have an anticipated response to this argument, and I'll let you guys see for yourselves what happens.
I'm familiar with those. So here's my concern, and I don't want to straw man you. So let me just make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. Are you saying something like, minimally speaking, we can know what parts of the Bible are not corrupted and are true revelations from Allah, based off the fact that they, for instance, agree with the Quran, and or maybe you can say something like, we can externally verify which parts are true based off of what descriptions the Prophet Muhammad is actually fulfilling. So for instance, say Daniel 7, you can make a match there. So therefore this pericope in Daniel 7.
So it's we make so we would be able to see that things are not from the Bible, that are not correct in the Bible, because they contradict the Quran. So as you've mentioned, I think in the beginning, you mentioned that, there are conscientious or conscious corrections in the Quran of the Old Testament. So for example, right, in the book of Genesis, it says that God rested on I'm
just going to keep
the Quran and
literally
what do you so it's in the text, like,
and that's like viciously circular, because it sounded like he agreed that, like, yes, in fact, we know that these things are incorrect because they contradict the content within, like, the Quran. Like,
yeah. And I was biting my tongue here because I didn't want to get sucked into the exegetical debate, because again, guys, it doesn't matter, because none of that matters if the epistemic problem is there, which they haven't taken care of.
An object of worship. Well, so there's many examples of this, actually. There's many examples.
I understand where you're coming from on this, and that's why the formulation of the argument that I'm trying to kind of push for more so focuses on a very niche aspect of all of this big conversation, which is the descriptions that you find of Muhammad in the previous scriptures, right? Okay. That, like, in a sense, the Quran seems to be putting the previous scriptures, at least the true parts of the previous scriptures, as an epistemic proof of the prophethood of Muhammad.
No problem.
Right?
So what?
So if there is no non-circular way for Jews and Christians at the time of the Prophet Muhammad to know which parts are true or false, then it would have been impossible to verify Muhammad's prophethood, or even worse, the Quran itself is engaging in some type of a circular argument. There's a ton of things that fall out of this. So what I'm struggling to see is how do you verify
So
Muhammad's
I think
prophet?
what you might be struggling to see, because you're looking at this from a confessional perspective, right? Like if I were to say as a historian, even if you're a secular or atheistic historian, yeah, is it not possible for us to extract historical benefit from the Old Testament, New Testament, and try and make inferences as to what was historically plausible?
What do you think is happening in my head right now, Tim? In this moment?
Honestly, it's hard to say, but I mean, usually when you get like this, is like you look like you're going in and out of kind of autopilot a little bit. Like you're gonna let him talk, and then you're just kind of waiting until you can kind of get back on track. You don't look like you're too attached to what's happening right now.
No, that's pretty accurate. I was fairly disattached. I was fairly like unattached to this. And the thing happening in my head right now is I'm thinking, and I'm like, this guy is not getting the argument whatsoever. I'm being explicit that there's an epistemic circularity problem, and nothing he has been saying for the last 30 minutes has anything to do with anything I'm saying. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? No, like that's basically what I'm trying to figure out.
This sounds like this is almost like a debate tactic. I feel like they may employ is like they yap so much you just can't track anything they're saying, and it's completely irrelevant.
I tracked everything they were saying. It was just irrelevant.
Just generally, and it's like because he starts talking about history, and it's like, what the hell does history have to do with the epistemic issues when it comes to like supposing you're using circular reasoning to like uphold like a continuity, and he just starts talking about history, and he's like, oh, you can use the Old Testament to look at like some historical claim. It's like, okay, but we're not talking about like history per se. We're talking about the continuity which is prescribed in the Quran supposedly, right? And it's like they just start yapping about things that are not really like a part of this.
This has nothing to do with my argument.
Or isn't, without having to affirm in an absolute way the veracity of the biblical text. And I think the answer is yes, you can say that, well, look, these things are in the Bible. And when you consider that these things are in the Bible and that these things happened after, they act as prophecies. The fulfillment of prophecies is an evidence of the prophecy being true. So, for example, look, there are people let me put it this way, right?
I'm going to fast forward because I already told you guys what the position is. We've covered this so many times on this channel. All right. Let's fast forward to where I'm just going to go, yeah, I've anticipated this move and I have an argument against
unity, operations. If we're going to have an aspect of the act because to that,
are you with I have a deductive argument against this particular line of reasoning. Are you willing to hear that? Because I don't want to put you on a spot with a deductive argument or anything like that either.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So premise one is just something like this. External verification of a text is verification of its propositional content, since truth and falsity are properties of propositions, not like inscriptions or sounds. So all that is to say is like, in order to verify the intended meaning of anything, right, you're going to have to actually figure out what the meaning is, because the mouth sounds that are coming out of my face right now, right, there's a meaning that's intended in those. It's not like the sounds themselves mean anything in of themselves, right? But you would agree with that premise?
So no, I'm not following. Say it one more time, please.
Okay,
guys,
hold on. I guess I say how
before you start, Tim, guys in the chat, please just
yeah, of course.
Do me a favor.
Do you want me to reread the
Let me
premise?
know.
Or
oops, I pressed the space button out of frustration. Let me know in the chat if that made sense.
That was as pop level as I think you could get. Like that's I don't know what else you could have said that would make it more simpler without sounding like demeaning, like you start speaking in like caveman talk or something. But
yeah, Neanderthal speak like Than, like literally you could have gone like truth, propositions. Truth, not talking sounds. Yes? No? I'm not
Everybody,
following.
yeah, okay. I'm just making sure because, like, look, I was gaslighting myself because I was like, okay, maybe I'm just being way too technical. But anyway, go ahead, Tim. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say, how did you not track that? That's my thing. Like you said, okay, truth is a property of propositions. They're not gonna be inherently found in the very sounds coming out of my face. Can we at least agree on that? And he said, I don't know. He was like, can you repeat that? How? Like genuinely, or is that a tactic? Is that a?
Well, okay. Here's the thing, man.
What is that?
It gets worse. It gets worse because I can tolerate just maybe you've never heard speech act theory before or something like that, right? And you just need this explained a little bit more, and that's fine. But just watch how this keeps progressing.
Yeah, why do big word when little word do job?
Just
say it in whatever language you can. You don't have to.
Yeah. So the external verification of a text is verification of its propositional content, and that's because whether or not. So the propositional content. So for instance, if I put up some text on the screen right now, and it's like you have 5 different words on there, right? And in order to verify whatever that sentence says, you're going to have to actually know what the propositional content of that sentence is, not just
what
the words on the screen.
What do you mean by propositional content?
Bro.
The facts that it wishes to affirm or predict. So for instance, if there's a prophecy in the Old Testament, right? You're not just reading you're not just reading the text, right? You're interpreting the text to mean something. There's a meaning behind the words.
So I'm not actually following.
Bro, okay, hold on. Pause it real fast.
Look, in hindsight, guys. I Lord help me. I think I would rather believe that Mohammed Hijab is lying to my face right now than believe that a human this stupid is walking on the same planet as me.
With 6 degrees, yeah.
Keep bringing that, bro. That's great. We need that. Okay, here's what's going through my head, then, because you're obviously being very respectful. Here's what's been going through my head the whole entire time. What is propositional content? I don't know. The content of a proposition? Like, what is propositional content? The content of a proposition. Guys, I figured it out, actually. He just doesn't know what a proposition is.
Dude.
I think maybe that's just like...
I point this out to him pretty soon in the discussion. I even say the fact that you're even like disputing this right now is you affirming the premise. Like, that is the irony there. I can't verify. Say what?
That's actually so funny now that I just caught that now.
Sorry to say this, but I'm not understanding it fully. I
would say the fact that you're not understanding this is showing that you probably affirm this premise, right? Because I'm saying things right now, and you're trying to get into what the meaning of my words are, right? So you can figure out if you affirm them or not.
Okay, so what?
So yeah, this is just one premise of the argument.
Okay.
That's all. Okay. So the second.
Sorry, just to clarify there, are you making a point about hermeneutics here?
It's about hermeneutics, but it's also pointing out that there's a problem with saying, hey, you have this corrupted scripture over here. This prophecy, this place that I've interpreted as a prophecy of Muhammad is reliable or authentic or whatever you want to say, because Muhammad's fulfilled it.
Okay, so I sort of see what you're trying to say, but just on that point, are you saying there is only one way of verifying it, or are you open to the idea that when it comes to hermeneutics, even if you have a non-circular way of verifying something, it could be possible for people who are experts to come up with multiple explanations, some which may
This has
be
nothing to do with
ontological, some which may be
premise at this point.
figurative.
Yeah. That's a great question. So on the off chance,
What I kind of feel is that you had an implicit premise in there, which I'm trying to tease out. I can see it a bit more clearly now.
You lied straight to his face, by the way. That's
What?
a great question.
Dude, I'm trying to be nice. Like, look, Mohammed Hijab, I'm just telling you right now, I have been playing nice with Dawa guys since I've started Islam about 6 months ago. And I'm letting you and whoever the other guy is, I don't know what your name is, but you're part of the problem. I'm letting you know I may have hit my breaking point after this. I may have hit my breaking point after this because everybody knows, everybody with a brain knows, I let you off very easy on the Islamic dilemma. Everybody knows that.
Wait, there's a pull up the most recent super chat from OJ Simpin real fast. It's super relevant right now.
Dan is listening to Mohammed Hijab like I listen to my wife when she rambles about drama at work. Like, what does any of this have to do with getting dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah, facts, OJ.
Man, I'm just this. And for the people that are like wondering, like maybe okay, wait, Dan's breaking. Like, what's happening? Just wait, guys.
gotcha.
Because you see the charity I'm extending to these guys. Just wait.
No, so that's a great question. So what I'm trying to get at, because remember, this is about the Jews and Christians at the time of the Prophet Muhammad, of which like they didn't have historical critical scholarship or anything like that. So my argument is not that like right now there are not historical methods to try to figure out what parts are true or false. Does that make sense?
No, I don't agree with that at all, because would you agree, let's stick to an example, if you have in the 7th century two Jews and one Christian, and each one of them has a non-circular way of trying to verify a text, but they have 3 different hermeneutical tools and they come up with 3 different inferences. Is that possible?
Oh, yeah, that is about hermeneutics, interpreting a particular text, but interpreting that particular text is about going to text that you think is reliable and then unpacking it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
I thought you were asking something else. Yes, people can come to the text and then find different interpretations, right? And then we just have to find out.
So sure. So if that was to be the case, then you would be open to the idea that particular premise needs probably to be expanded into 2 premises.
No, I don't think so, because what you just said is totally congruent with the first premise of the argument that I've shown, which is that's just a case example of the premise being true. 3 different people coming to different interpretations of a particular verse and then arguing through it through different hermeneutical grounds is going to presuppose the idea that you need to verify the propositional content.
The reason I raised this.
Did that make sense what I just said there? Like everything that just happened there? Tim, Lamb?
Lamb, can you explain for us? Because I like doing this myself a lot, so I want to give someone else a chance. Lamb, for the audience and everyone, in like, you don't have to do the Neanderthal speak unless you want. I think it's fun. But in almost Neanderthal speak, maybe, what did Than just say?
So and he can correct me if I'm wrong, Than is talking about like what is going to be relevant is not the interpretations you get from whatever you're reading, but it's actually you take those things to be true because the contents and when he's talking about unpacking them, there's like and maybe I'm wrong. I'm trying to remember this. Like they're going to have some sort of criteria to do so. Like that's sort of like implicit there.
Yeah, I mean, here's the even shorter version. he accepts my premise. Like, he gave a case example of 3 different people coming to a different like interpretation of the text, and then trying to figure out if that's true, if which of those interpretations is true. That is literally the premise in action. In order to verify the propositional contents of that text, you need to interpret it in that, because you don't know what propositions the text is like affirming without the interpretation. Like, they agree with the premise. They're just like, they're being the way that I am with Mike half the time, where I'm just like disagreeing just to piss Mike off, probably.
I wonder if they're like, what's it called? They're like shooting from the hip, like going beyond just your first premise, and then like maybe trying to like precog your second premise, and then they're like arguing based on like the interpretations. Like, that's the only way I could like see this at all following with what they're describing.
Right, tries to do that a lot. What I've noticed is they don't like sitting in the premise too long. They very much cart before the horse your argument, without having doing the requisite work here. So I think that they're getting really impatient right now. But then they are just disagreeing on.
They're impatient. Sorry, keep going.
No, they're just but then like also at the same time they're disagreeing on basic stuff. So here's a theory. I think that they've recognized, based on your speech patterns and what you're doing, and the fact that you have separated yourself from other Christians in terms of the dilemma, that this is not going to be an easy one. And so if we just make things as hard as possible to move forward, eventually we'll tire out this person, talking about you, and then we don't have to deal with it.
No, I can do
genuinely
this
think
forever.
they looked down the barrel of the gun you were pointing at them, bro, and they said, "This is." They saw that. I mean, look, Hijab couldn't even understand propositional content. I think that they saw the writing on the wall. They're like, okay, yo, we just gotta waste as much time. And well, we know how that played out.
Yeah, the fans are like, get this loser off. It's boring. And they're like, oh, our fans are speaking up.
Yeah.
So look, I mean, I just
the reason I raised this is because it's gonna make more sense when we carry on when it comes to what I raised earlier about the fallacy of composition, that you can have information within a text, but that doesn't mean that if
the fact that he's saying this tells me he is not tracking the argument at all.
He's doing too much, and they do it all the time. Like, I think Tim was explaining, like, they're doing too much anticipation argumentation, where they're trying not to keep themselves in the premise to get trapped. And so they're like anticipating all these different avenues you could go, and they're arguing that instead of the actual premise. Because I guess they're like, if they say they agree, they feel like they're going to lock into something they don't want to stay locked into.
Yeah. I mean, this goes against everything in my constitution. And Tim, you can testify to this. It goes against everything in my constitution to say this. Dude, they were just terrified. And you'll see this in the Trinity section of this discussion, guys. They were just terrified to agree on anything. Even if it was some of the most basic things, they just did not want to agree with me on it. It's insanity. It's insanity.
If there is a person who's saying there's things in the text that we can verify using their own hermeneutical tools, that is a circular way of doing things. Do you understand why I'm teasing it out?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think if I can just if we can get through, but again, I also realize you have other people, so I want to.
Look, let me just put it this for you. We do have other people, but let me just say this to you, my friend. Yeah, I'll say this to you. Look, at the time of the Prophet, there was a man called Salman al-Farisi, right? He was a Christian. and he went to different monks, and they had predictions of the future about the Prophet Muhammad in their books. That actually, some of them don't even appear in the books now. And when he went to Medina, and he saw the Prophet, and he asked him to remove his upper garments so they can see the seal of the prophets. When he saw it, that convinced him, and the Prophet saw that as a legitimate means of legitimizing his own prophethood. Why is that? Is it because everything in their possession is authentic? No, it is just a corrupt. And I saw a Hindu. Okay,
this has nothing to do with it. What you're saying,
is he unironically arguing the big mole thing? Is that what the seal of prophets is?
It's yes.
Nice.
Do you have no clue how much self-control it took?
Dude, that's a thing David Wood excuse me, that's the thing David Wood joked about them using like the big mole argument.
This took so much self-control to not start laughing.
Forget about Christian for now. Hindu. Okay, this person is a Hindu. And he goes into the Bhagavad Gita. And if you watched Zahucha and describing the prophet in the Bible for now, of a prophet that went this exact description.
That is me. That's not my thinking face anymore, guys.
No, it's not. I'm laughing right now.
Tim and I are best friends, by the way, guys. So Tim knows exactly what's happening. Tim, why don't you tell people? Go ahead. What's happening?
This is the face that Than makes when Mike and him are doing a call-in, and some Dawa bro is talking at 1,000 miles per hour and being so obtuse, and they've gone around and around and around. Literally, you can go check this for yourself. This is every time the face that Than makes. Dude, Than's over it. At this point, you're just so over it. This is actually hilarious. I love it. I love it.
At this point, okay, and guys, you will see this, right? And this is the point where I'm making the decision. I'm okay, when he's done yapping, I'm going to try to disengage from this because, again, I was thinking I'm going to be nice. I will be respectful of his platform rather than just being a jerk and being dude, you are an embarrassment because you couldn't track basic concepts. I was going to just disengage and be hey, you got other people in the queue. I'm happy to go out, right? This is the moment I decided that, and you'll see me telegraph that, and then you'll see Mohammed Hijab decide to seal his fate instead of accepting my good grace gesture. Because we are about to unfold into the domain of him accidentally conceding that the Trinity is coherent.
Of a future prophet might have remained. It might have stayed there. So it doesn't mean that we believe everything in Hinduism.
I'm actually, you and I can agree there.
It doesn't mean we believe everything in Hinduism is true. So you must see Thanos. I mean, that's not to be disrespectful, but I just try and listen to this because it seems to only make sense in the minds of the Christian polemicists. This, I assure you.
Well,
look, we work in the
apologetics.
in apologetics, all that, but we work in the Sapiens Institute, right? Which deals
lots of nobody takes the Islamic dilemma seriously. Blah 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 blah. More
it's acceptable sorts.
Not in Islamic spheres, but that's mainly just because I am relatively new to talking about Islam.
Put it in a peer-reviewed journal that people can look at and actually.
I'm gonna find a peer-reviewed journal and put this argument in there just to shut you up, Mohammed Hijab.
Scholars can look at it and actually criticize non-Muslim, because right now I don't think even one paper like that exists.
Yeah, remember also, I'm in agreement with you that the pop level Islamic dilemma that people are putting out this particular point.
He's God in an identity sense, or God?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, and on this particular point.
Let me ask you this: do you believe Jesus is God?
Yes.
Do you believe that he's God in an identity sense or a predicative sense?
So I'm going to hold to a thesis of aspectivalism here, if you're familiar with Dr. Joshua Sijuwati or anything like that. So
okay, explain.
Look at Tim's poop eating grin right now, dude.
He's finally Sijuwati.
No, he's actually popping online to teach tomorrow, which is cool. But no, because I just know what's gonna happen, man. I just know what's about to go down. This is
Okay,
the fun.
real quick. Tim.
Everyone that's been, okay, wait. Everyone that's been listening right now, this is where it gets entertaining. So everyone that's been checked out because Mohammed Hijab keeps just monologuing, it's over. You're tuning back in, get off that browser, close the rest of the tabs that you've been on, lock in. This part is where it gets really fun and really interesting. I mean, I'm excited. This is
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
But yes, I think Jesus is God.
In what sense? In a predicative sense or in an identity sense?
How are you making that distinction?
So is Jesus God, wholly, fully God as an identity statement, or is he descriptively God as a predicate?
I think that
So the thing that's happening, you probably already know what's happening in my head right now, Tim, which is I'm not going to answer that question right now because I know based off the feedback I've gotten so far in our conversation, the probability that I can answer that question with him actually understanding the nuance before I unpack the metaphysics is like incredibly low. So this is why I'm going into this particular route that I'm going in.
The subject, Jesus, is predicated divinity. So I think now this is a long conversation about God's essence and different metaphysical models of the Trinity.
What do you believe in? What is your model of the Trinity that you subscribe to?
I like I said, the monarchical aspect titles that count.
And so it's predicative.
Yes.
Okay, so there's 3 centers of consciousness.
3 subjects.
Sure. So then 3 wills, right?
No.
There's only 1 will.
Correct.
So then if they're sharing the same will, then it would collapse into one.
That would be the point. Yeah.
So well then how is it the is of
Can I I'm gonna curse because Than may know this person and I'm gonna shamelessly plug them. The guy Bust Down famously said, "Yeah, no shit, that's the point."
But that literally was that was the point. That is the point. Like, oh my gosh, dude.
Predication. If it's the is of predication.
This is again, and this is where understanding the aspect type is. Well, no, that'd be.
Let me put it this way.
Okay, do you guys, everybody, you guys probably already see it. Notice the patience that I gave him. I let him monologue, explain his views, give his nuance. He just doesn't want to hear anything right now.
All right, let me put it this way. Let me ask you this. Is the will of God, is the will of Jesus the same as the will of the Son? Is it the same?
The 3 subjects share one divine mind and one will.
So Jesus's will is
the will of the Father.
The will of the Father. Okay, so in that case, it's the is of identity, not of predication.
Yes, yeah. I believe that the 3 aspects, the Son, the Spirit, and the Father, are numerically identical to the divinity.
Okay, so Jesus is God. Jesus is identical to God. The Father.
Right now, what he's trying to do, guys, is force the conversation into something called first order logic. And if he's smart and knows what's happening, he realizes I have a metaphysical thesis that like sidesteps the LPT, and he's trying to put all of that to the side. Well, I don't know. What do you think is happening right now, Tim?
He's trying to. So because he's so unequipped to actually deal with your metaphysics, I actually anticipate what you're going to say, because I'm already 36 steps ahead of where this conversation is at, just because I know the model. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So it's either going to be, I'm either going to get him to say 3 gods, or I'm going to get him to say 1 god. And then I'm going to get him either in modalism, partialism, or tritheism. That's what he's trying to do right now. He's trying to get you in modalism, partialism, or or tritheism, he's going to ask these questions. So the reason why, just for everyone watching, the reason why he asked Than if Jesus or the Son is God in a predicative sense is because when you predicate is God, and so if you have two is God statements, right? According to them, classical identity is going to tell you that you have two objects because you have two is God statements. You have two predicates of the same property. Now, either that's only going to work if you have two beings, so two gods that you can predicate is God, or it's going to be something like a mode, right? That's going to be modalism. And then later on, right, he asks you the question that we all hate, and that's going to get you to partialism. So what he's trying to do right now is he's trying to catch Than in a heresy. But the issue that he doesn't recognize is that we can simultaneously say that the Son is predicated divinity, but the way in which we predicate divinity involves very specific metaphysics that actually doesn't result in tritheism, modalism, or partialism. And that's what's going to break his brain.
Yeah, and you literally will watch him break his brain. Well, watch me break his brain and watch him concede to the metaphysics, and then slowly but surely he realizes that it is too late.
That is identical to God. The Son is identical to God. The Holy Spirit is identical to God. Correct?
Say it one more time, sir. I got
the Father
distracted.
is identical to being God. The Son is identical to being God. The Holy Spirit is identical to being God. Correct?
Yeah. Yes, in the aspectival sense.
So in that sense, then the Father is identical to being the Son.
Why are you laughing, Tim? Go ahead.
Because he said, okay, in that sense, yeah, Mohammed, yeah, you know exactly what sense Than's talking about right now. He's like, yeah, in that sense. Yeah,
he
don't give us that, like you're actually
He doesn't, guys. He doesn't, because...
Dude, I told you, like, when they were doing that with me, they were just like, they would like repeat what I say or agree and then just say something that completely contradicts it. I'm like, yeah, in that sense. And then they say something that your metaphysics does not like actually allow. And it's like, okay.
Man, it's just...
No.
Well, then
there's a qualitative distinction between the three persons through something called ontothematic roles is what I would bring into the table.
If the Father is God in an identity sense.
Man, okay. This is where I started getting frustrated, and I did a little knowledge grabbing. Okay. Yeah. I dropped down to thematic roles, and did you notice the way they started shifting?
Oh yeah.
You got to know.
Oh yeah. You're not, yeah. This is where they realize, like, oh yeah, we're not.
Oh,
I mean,
we messed up.
like, now we're really not dealing with a regular person, a regular Christian. Yeah.
And the Son is God is in an identity sense, and the Holy Spirit is God in an identity sense. Then, by the law of identity in logic, there's three major laws in logic.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up because
by the law of identity, then the Father is the Son. So the Father.
That doesn't follow, Mohammed. That doesn't follow because if you take aspectivalist metaphysics into account, you would then find out that Leibniz law doesn't. The right word there.
This is me literally trying to be like, he's been so stupid this whole entire time. I have no clue how to actually explain why the domain of Leibniz law does not include aspects. I literally just have no clue how else I would have phrased that to him at this point.
Yeah.
And for anybody wondering what I'm saying right now, when I say that, just go to our IPA, Inspiring Philosophy Academy channel, and look at Tim and I's discussion with Dr. Justice Shijwadi talking about this stuff. And, or, by the way, the reason why Tim is my co-host as well is because he runs a thing called Worldview Mastery, where he actually does like one-on-one coaching with you guys to help you basically gain competency in all of this stuff. So there's a link in the description below for that as well if you want to go check that out. Tim is super cool. A bunch of people from our Discord server and a bunch of our supporters are actually getting coached by him right now. So Tim in a chat, by the way, if you guys are getting coached by him, show him some love.
I've heard good things about it.
There's a bunch of words you can use, but I'll just kind of use trigger for, I'll use trigger for now, right? So Leibniz law is completely intact with what the aspectivalist account is going to say, because aspects.
Because
Sorry.
You're saying that the Father is
Well,
identical.
if you'd let me actually explain this just
go
for a
on.
little bit, right? Like, so for
Yeah, all right.
instance, I don't know, I have a battery here, right?
Mhm.
And the battery is one object, right?
Mhm.
There's a positive side and a negative side and everything in between, though, right?
Sure.
So now, is the positive side the battery?
Pardon?
Is the positive
battery.
side the battery?
The whole battery is the
Yeah,
positive
can
side
we
the whole
predicate?
battery?
Can we predicate
No.
the battery to the positive side?
Predicate. Are you talking about a part of the battery? A part of, yes, the positive side is a part of the battery. Yes, part. Is
So
Jesus
if I take
part-
so I can have a battery without a positive side.
No. If you're analogizing the positive side with
Well,
the
no,
Trinity,
this is not analogy for the Trinity. This is me
So what is it then?
outlining the
What is it?
metaphysics. That's all.
okay, tell me why is it relevant? Why are you telling me about the positive side of the battery? Why?
Because the positive side is an aspect.
You know what, Libiano? I'd be cry laughing too if your hero, your king, is turned out to actually be this ignorant. Yeah.
Of the total thing, the battery.
It's a part of the battery. Yes, part.
No, it's not a part, because if it's a part,
the positive side is the whole battery, is it?
no, it's an aspect.
the negative side
Hence
is
the aspect
doesn't
hybalist.
Like, that is such a false dichotomy.
The fact, right? The fact that for him, it's either relations of parts and wholes or identity and nothing, and then like a very strict, specific understanding of identity is just, I mean, it's just telling, right? That he's unequipped to engage in these kinds of debates and discussions. I just found it funny. It's like either is it parts? So it's one thing. Oh, many part. Okay, so many thing. And it's like, nah, bro. No.
It just keeps, guys. I'm a little chill right now, but just wait. It's you're gonna watch some of the lowest hikmah you have ever seen here
Out of the Trinity. Or, for instance, here's another thing. Do you think that you, Muhammad, that you, Muhammad, are separable into different parts?
Yes.
Like you, the subject, Muhammad,
Yes.
are separable
Of
into
course.
different parts.
Yeah, I can be broken down into different parts. Yes.
So you can have.
Oh my goodness, dude. You don't know how much this pissed me off when I was watching it. Like, it actually, like, oh my goodness.
His friend's like, bro, stop talking. You're gonna what you're about to witness is me like a deer in headlights right now, because I'm like, I can't teach this guy basic stuff in the middle of a debate. Like, what am I supposed to do? So I'm like just throwing words out there at the like for what you're gonna see is I'm gonna just be throwing words out there and hope that like something works. Right. By the way, I tested this, Tim. I went to a bunch of people that I know do not do philosophy, like accountants, like whatever, right? Like, I have a bunch of people that I called today, and I'm like, because this flabbergasted me. I was shooketh. Okay. So I tested this in every single person, right? This is how the test went. Hey, I want to see if you know what I'm trying to gesture towards, or like what I'm trying to like hone in on when I say this, okay? Do you think that like you, the subject, right? And then we'll just call whatever person I'm talking to X. Like, and by you, I mean like the Xness. You. Are you separable into parts, or are you like just one thing? Every single person understood that I'm talking about like the personhood. The personhood. What you're about to see is like Mohammed Hijab is at a dentist, and like
This is what's
Basic
happening right here. I'm gonna
truth
share my
is
screen.
like doing a root canal.
I'm gonna share my screen. I'm just gonna show everyone. This
Go
is
ahead.
this is how the conversation goes. It's this meme.
Oh my.
Are you Patrick Star? Yup. And is this your ID? Yup. I found this ID in this wallet, and this is the case. Then it must be your wallet. That makes sense to me. Then take it. It's not my wallet. That's what's happening right now.
How would you translate that? Muhammad, are you a single subject? Yes. So if you're a single subject, you can't be split into parts? Yes. So can you be split into parts? No.
No, I mean yes.
Yes.
That's just what's going through my mind.
Yeah. Man. Oh,
I want this to be kind of a testament to every Muslim. Is this guy is their king, by the way. So he's supposed to be like the upper echelon of like Islamic apologetics.
Yeah, it's a because here's the thing, there are Muslims that I know of that are much more knowledgeable and also more respectful. Like I've spoken to Muslim philosophers privately at this point many times, and they've given me so much to think about. Like it's insane. And then there's this, man. Oh shoot, press the wrong button. Here I am talking about how smart I am, dude.
I can split your consciousness into two things
No,
that are
you
both
just
called
said
Muhammad.
consciousness.
Yeah, because you're not identical to your body, are you?
Who said that Muhammad is identical to his consciousness?
Are you identical to your body?
I'm not identical to my consciousness.
You're
Going
not.
back to
Yeah, your
hold on.
consciousness is a power. It's a faculty you have.
You
but
brought out
you,
your battery.
the subject, the first
you brought
person
out your-
experience, Muhammad, right?
Yeah.
Is
So
Muhammad.
these are all actually my consciousness is a part of me, right? Just like my head is a part of me, and my hand is a part of me, my fingers are a part of me, and my feet are a part of me. They're not all of me. Like the battery that you held in your hand, the positive side of it is a part of the battery. If this is analogous to Jesus, then he is a part of God, right?
No, because again, if
God.
you get here, if we get there, you, the subject, Muhammad, right? The person, that's one thing that's not separable, right?
This is what happens. With all due respect, this is what happens.
Well, yes or no? That's a yes or no question.
What's your question? What is your question?
You, the subject, the first person experience, Muhammad, is that one thing that's not separable.
No, I'm saying that Muhammad is many things. Muhammad is his body, his soul. I believe in dualism, for example, mind-body distinction, body.
Well,
soul
hence me
distinction.
qualifying first-person perspective.
From my own perspective, am I me?
Do you? Okay, so do you know what a first-person perspective? Like, do you know what I'm trying?
Dan, you are trying so hard right now. Like you are literally trying to reach him right now, and he is no longer with us.
What? Like
he's like, do I think me? He's like,
what else am I supposed to do here?
Mohammed Hijab has 99 ontologies. Whoa.
Have we gone too far? Yo, I'm gonna make a video called that actually. Mohammed Hijab's got 99 ontologies, question mark. Them leaning into each other thumbnail.
Dude, what am I supposed to do at this point? Like, seriously, like, I actually really do want to know. What would you have done in my situation right there, Timmerlam? And
I would have caved in and just called them stupid at that point, probably.
I would have probably said something like, because I get to that point too. I would be like, Muhammad, you're not gonna sit here and tell me that you think that you are your body. Yeah, like you're not gonna actually sit here and tell me that you don't understand what I'm asking, right? Like you think you're your body, bro? Like, and you act, and here's the thing, like you get to there, but like you had to go through all this damn rigmarole, bro.
You should have ran the poop dilemma again.
The poop dilemma.
Mohammed, are you identical to your poop?
Oh, dude, I'm actually, they're calling you gay now. I guess that was a good way to get them away from calling you the poop apologist. It's because they were calling you the poop apologist for a while.
Yeah, as if that was like this, dude. This is dawa. This is the low hikmah. This is the low hikmah state of dawa, right? My gosh, man. All right, it gets worse, guys.
Second or third person, I'd hope to think that.
No, not talking about like in terms of like the first person perspective of a book. I'm talking about the metaphysics again.
Objective experience.
You are a subject, right? You are a subject that subsists in a nature, your human nature, right? And so insofar as that, you have arms, legs, and all this other stuff, right?
Sure.
But there is one subject, Muhammad. And this one subject, Muhammad, can have two competing desires that are qualitatively distinct from each other, such that they cannot be identical. So, for instance, if you like ice cream, right, you can simultaneously on one end desire chocolate ice cream and not vanilla ice cream, but then also have a desire for vanilla ice cream and not chocolate ice cream.
How does that link to the Trinity, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I'm providing you with the aspectivalism metaphysics here. So, for instance, those are aspects of Muhammad, right?
Yeah.
You're not splitting into two persons when you have this, do you?
Say again, sorry?
So you're not splitting into two persons when you have those two competing desires.
The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit are aspects. But
so hold on. Do you agree? Do you agree then that those two competing desires don't split you into two different objects? These can and these aren't parts of you, right?
They don't make me two different people. No, don't make me two different people, if that's what you're asking. But here's why I'll ask you this, is that in the beginning of this conversation, you said the Father is God, right? And is of identity. If the Father is God and the Son is God, then it follows that the Father is the Son. So the Father basically...
No, it doesn't. Because again, if that followed...
Well, he also impregnated his mum, actually.
Great. So if that followed...
And his mum is worshipping him. So can you see this kind of cosmic incest going on there?
If like what followed Muhammad, then you...
I could tell right there when he did that, like, you did that kind of pause.
Was like already done, and then Mohammed Hijab throws that in. Than, you were like, I think in that moment, your face looked like, I didn't know that this could actually get any worse. And then he just says that.
Dude, there was I am usually pretty stoic, and I didn't catch this before. Just go back. You'll just watch my face as he's talking. There was a tiny little break in my constitution.
Impregnated his mum, actually.
Great. So if that followed,
and his mum is worshipping him. So can you see this kind of cosmic instance?
Did you see that?
Wait, literally twitching.
Did you see that? That was not on purpose. That was not. I literally had that little like almost like a seizure happened on my face, bro.
Vain, dude. You know what's so funny is he literally said he impregnated his mum, and then you're like, all right, anyway, moving on. And he said it again, and you're like, anyway, moving on. And then he said it's an incest, and then he hit you with the third thing, and it was the third one where you were like that was it. It was the third comment. He tripled down on that.
He tripled down, and it didn't work.
Cosmic incest.
Man, it didn't work.
I'm actually completely surprised. Like right then and there, you just didn't like challenge him to a boxing match or something.
Well, yeah, because here's the thing. Unlike Muhammad, I'm not overly sensitive about my ego. I'm totally happy to admit when I'm wrong or don't know an answer to something, right? Because our Christian audience doesn't place their faith in Jesus based off of whether or not I have answers, right? You know, we have a very intact intellectual life within the Christian tradition. So I have nothing to lose by just going, I'm not going to be a good debater with this person. I don't have an answer to this question or anything like that, right? there's a lot to lose here with Mohammed Hijab, right? And so you can say whatever you want to me. Like, you're not really going to end up breaking me. You'd think that the Dawa guys would figure that out by now, but
Going on, but
If that followed, Muhammad, then you having one desire that competes with another desire, and those are logically contradictory to each other, that would split you into two persons, unless you want to say your desire for chocolate and not vanilla and your desire for vanilla and not chocolate would have to be identical to each other by your own logic then, and you would split into two persons.
you're mixing between predicative and identity.
Is one
You believe in
desire
predicative view or the identity view?
is one desire you have in your first person experience going to be identical to the other desire you have of your first person experience?
Well, I don't have them at the same time. I don't have those two desires that are oppositional at the same time. If they were, that would be a contradiction. That's if you believe the Father and the Son.
They're contradictory desires, but psychologically we have those.
If I have those two contradictory desires,
Here's the
I
part,
cannot
Randy.
have them both there at the same time.
Here you go.
Huh?
Wait.
Dude, you were like, bro. I don't
Oh,
even say
man.
anything. I don't even need to say anything. That was it right there. That was it right there.
my reaction just
Like what? Hold on. Like so I guess he's saying like it's logically impossible for him to like want pizza for dinner but also want like burgers for dinner because they're contrary to each other.
Yeah, because again, these Muslims, man, and I'm gonna say these Muslims like that, they don't understand what a
These Dawa
contradiction
guys.
is. Guys, I always say this. I every time I go live on TikTok, and Lamb, if you ever see me live on TikTok, like feel free to pop in, bro. Like I let people up all the time to join with me. I just go on there and we have a good time. Whenever I go live on TikTok, I 99% of the time have to educate a Muslim on what a contradiction actually is, because they think it's P and not P, but that's not a contradiction. A contradiction is P, not P in the same sense or the same respect, right? So I can say right now, if I say I'm tall and not tall at the same time, is it a contradiction? The right logical answer is not necessarily. The reason why that is because I can have two respects by which I'm predicating things. So I can say, for example, I am tall with respect to a gymnast. And then I can say I am short with respect to an NBA player. I am 6'2", but NBA players are much taller than that. So I'm tall for a gymnast at the same time I'm short for an NBA player at the same time. So they don't understand that that's not a contradiction. So this is where aspects come in. When Than is saying you can have two competing desires that contradict each other, what he's saying is, according to aspect 1, you desire chocolate and not vanilla. But according to aspect 2, you desire vanilla and not chocolate. How is that not a contradiction? Because we are predicating based on aspects. So the aspects function as our two different respects. And that's how we're not actually able to get a true contradiction there.
Yep. Everybody gets it, man. Like everybody except for Mohammed Hijab, I guess. Like, I want to eat a dozen cookies tonight. I also want to lose weight. Those desires happen simultaneously, are in conflict. This is normal. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it gets worse, guys.
You don't think that you can like simultaneously be like, I want chocolate ice cream and I want vanilla ice cream, but I don't want the mixy swirl?
Oppositional. If they're contradictory desires, you can't have them both there at the same time.
Why not?
What do you mean? I want to sleep.
Why,
and
what do
I
you mean,
wanna
why
wake
not?
up. I want to jump and I want to sit down.
Yeah, you just said, yeah, you can do that.
At the
What
same
do you
time.
mean you cannot have contradictory desires?
It's not going to be at the same time. If I want to stand
Why
up
not?
now, okay, if I want to stand up now, then I want to sit down later on. That can follow. But if I'm not going to want to stand up and sit down at the same time, am I?
Why
Can I
not?
can I stand up and sit down at the same time?
Just because you can't execute those desires at the same time
exactly.
does not entail that you can't have
No, but
those
then-
desires at
okay,
the same time.
Execution is started by some kind of cognition, right?
This right here is like
But my brain tells me
biggest
to do
panic
it, isn't it?
like tactic that he just.
You think your brain tells you what you want to do and how you make what?
Well, I would hope so. I mean, that's what they call it, the executive function of the.
I understand that.
Your executive function doesn't tell you what you want to do, mind you guys, if you're a dualist or a non-materialist or a non-physicalist, just to be clear.
But
I know what executive function is. If your executive function told you what to do, my ADHD wouldn't be a thing. Fucking executive function, bro.
Clearly, you and I are not going to be materialists, right? We're not physicalists when it comes to the mind.
But
right?
nevertheless, we have to speak on.
So, nevertheless, again, Mohammed, you can have two competing desires, and these are going to be not parts of Muhammad, right? These are not going to be splitting Muhammad into two persons or to two different objects. These are aspects of you. Denying that aspects.
Okay, are you asking me?
In other words, Muhammad, the logical consequence of denying that aspects can be counted within one object without.
No, I'm. You see, look, I've never said that. I've never said that in this discussion. I've never said that.
What has he been doing for like the last hour?
It's exactly what I'm about to do. That's
yeah, this is great.
I just paused so we can get it out of our system momentarily.
Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing what? That the different aspects can be there for one person. Of course there is. Like I said, there's the soul, there's aspects of the body, there's aspects of the, whatever. There's different aspects of one person. What's the problem? How does that relate now to your Trinity?
You just sealed your fate, Mohammed.
Yes. Okay. So if it's the case that you can have one entity or one being, and that one being can have aspects, which I would call the Father aspect, the Son aspect, and the Spirit aspect, and we can have a qualitative distinction amongst the aspects, but then I'll say that each of those aspects are numerically identical to the being.
No, that's the point.
Then I don't have to count three gods by predication. I don't have partialism. I don't have modalism. Because Leibniz law is still intact, and I can have the is, I can have the is, and I can have the is of identity through the aspectivalist metaphysics.
What are you doing it then? If it's not doing, if you're removing Leibniz law from the equation,
I did not,
bro.
How would he even get?
That's how you know he's not listening.
Do you need a hearing aid, Mohammed Hijab? Like, Kat, you heard me say right before I finished that sentence, I have Leibniz law intact. And what does he say?
What are you doing it then? If it's not doing, if you're removing Leibniz law from the equation,
No, what you actually said was, I completely disregard Leibniz law.
Dawa, hey, look, for any person in the chat that's like a psychologist, seriously, I think Dawa guys need, I would actually love to see a psychological study on Dawa guys at this point.
I do have like a psychoanalysis kind of statement. They have these debates like they literally listen to you and then respond like they read the Quran, or how they explain how they read the Quran. Like, you'll say something and then they say the complete opposite or contradictory thing to what you just said. And that's like almost how they interpret the Quran and how they reiterate the Quran.
Say it one more time, sorry.
I was saying the way that they like sort of have a discussion with you, right? Like, you'll say something and then they'll say something completely contradictory or contrary to what you say. And I said it's the same way that they read the Quran and reiterate the Quran to people.
Yeah. It's at this point that you're going to start seeing basically him just spamming the same question over and over again and then getting mad at me because I think he just didn't know how to deal with the aspectivalist account.
Did not say that. Well, that's a straw man.
So what are you doing then?
I said I'm not modifying Leibniz law here. I am saying
What are you doing?
I am saying that Leibniz law does not apply to aspects.
Why not?
You can read a paper by Baxter. for instance, Ben Bax, he
No,
argues
hold on.
for
Before
this
I read the
extensively.
paper, I'll read the paper. I'll write it down.
No, you won't.
But
Well,
is
okay, here's one
Jesus-
reason.
let me
Here's
ask
one
you this.
reason to accept this,
I
Mohammed.
think
Well,
this-
here's one
let me-
reason to accept this, Mohammed.
but before-
You
Thanos,
already
let me ask
agreed
you-
to it when you said
Thanos, let me
that
ask
you
you-
having
let me
these
make it
two
easier.
desires.
Let me make it easier because aspect is actually a part. Okay, in mereology.
No, it's not.
Well, it is actually. If you look at-
No, it's
Mereology.
not.
Well, give me a second, Thanos, please. Calm down, please. Yeah, yeah. There's no need for. I answer all your Islamic dilemma questions, and so an aspect is a part. Okay, if I say a part of his personality, okay, it's an aspect of his personality. It's just there's 9 definitions of what a part is. Aspect is one of those things. Okay, so if I were to ask just to delineate this and to help you a little bit further, right? Is Jesus fully God? Fully God?
What does that even have to do?
Well,
No,
hold on. You said a bunch of stuff that's wrong.
Just answer. Is Jesus fully
I would say
God or not?
Jesus is truly God.
No,
Now,
not truly. Fully.
aspects are not parts, and you already agreed to this, Mohammed, when you said that your two competing desires would not constitute that Muhammad splits into parts.
This is you're escaping the question. Is Jesus fully
Just like you
God?
decided to escape me giving
No,
you
no. Just answer the question,
my
please.
version of the Islamic
No,
dilemma. I gave you the charity. I gave you the charity of letting you get off easy on the Islamic dilemma argument that I gave you.
Whatever.
Remember?
Is Jesus fully
No,
God?
whatever.
Okay. Hey, was it epistemically possible for people at the time of the Prophet Muhammad to non-circularly identify Muhammad as a prophet that's in continuity and found in the scriptures of the previous
Is
prophet?
Jesus fully God or not?
I already told you. I've answered the question a few times actually at this point. Yes, he is truly God.
No, I didn't
And
say
then I
truly.
went on to correct your and then I went on to correct you when you said aspects or parts.
What you're doing. Just do me a favor, please. Don't talk about the Islamic dilemma. We gave you time with that.
I understand. What I'm doing now is
we answered all your questions with Islamic dilemma. I'm asking you the simplest question.
How many times do I have to answer your question?
Is Jesus fully God or not? Yes or no?
I've answered this. I have the word full, 0 to a problem.
100%. 100% God
is a divisional property. I'm pretty sure you know.
It's not a divisional. Is
what is happening right now? Mohammed, I'm pretty sure you know
is Jesus
what
fully
is happening right now. I'm pretty sure you know exactly what is happening right now.
If it's not a divisional property, it's easier to answer the question. You can just say yes. He is fully God because it's not divisional, right? So he must be 100%. He can't divide it. Is Jesus fully God or not?
What is wrong? I've already answered. I think Jesus is truly God. Yes.
This so hard. This is you don't even know. You're saying it's not divisional. It doesn't have to be divisional for it to be 100%.
Right. So I am rejecting the framing of your question. What is the problem with that?
Is rejecting the framing of is Jesus fully holy God? Is that something so difficult? Is that so difficult?
Well, yes, if I want to be precise with my language. I don't know why you want to unprecise and obfuscate. Why are we trying to obfuscate the language instead of move the conversation forward?
There's nothing obfuscate. There's no obfuscation happening here. This is the easiest question you can ask a human being. Okay, are you fully Thanos? Are you fully Thanos?
I'm truly Than.
So you're not fully.
I'm rejecting the framing of the question, Mohammed. What is the problem with that?
So you don't want to answer because you know it will destroy your aspectival understanding of the Trinity.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't.
Okay,
we'll leave it as that, Thanos. We'll let the people decide. I think. Look, honestly, do you know what I think is happening with Thanos?
Here comes the good crash. Here comes the final crash out, guys, and then we'll go through super chats.
Wallahi, I believe you believe that your religion is false. Wallahi, and Allah is my witness. Uqsum billah al-azim. I believe that, and may Allah destroy everyone. I believe you believe what you've just said is false. Wallahi, I believe you believe. You 100% wholly and fully believe that your religion is false. There's no way you believe your religion is true.
Dan, can I ask you a question?
I'll ask you a simple.
Go ahead.
Do you 100% believe that your religion, Christianity, is false?
Do I 100% believe that Christianity is false?
Yeah. Do you believe that Christianity is false?
I
Your
think
belief?
that there is a non 100% posterior probability that Christianity is true,
Mm-hmm.
but
So,
I think it's
so with,
above,
so with moral
considerably above
certainty.
90%.
Yeah. Okay. I was just making sure because it sounded like he was swearing an oath to Allah that that's what you believed. And last that I can recollect, that's haram, isn't it?
Is it?
I believe.
Hmm.
Swearing an oath to Allah on something that's a lie.
True.
Yeah, I should have challenged him
True.
to a mubakhala here. I really, dang it, dude. I really wish I would have done that in hindsight. That would have been so funny.
Question is, do you believe?
Which I've answered multiple times.
Wallahi,
And just like, by the way, any good philosopher will tell you, rejecting a framing of a question is a good thing if you understand.
Christianity for tribal reasons.
Yeah, the guy that was an atheist, the overwhelming majority of his life. Tribal reasons.
Wallahi, you believe it's false.
Just to end on a good,
relieve yourself from the burden
we're
of
done.
this contradiction,
we
brother.
have some
Honestly.
You're finished, boy.
Like the contradiction of the Quran saying Muhammad's a true prophet, even though it's epistemically impossible to verify this.
We're just going to move on, but I just want to ask you one simple question and get your answer before we move on, because I didn't get to speak. Your idea of one person and three aspects, it has some.
I never said one person, three aspects.
He doesn't. And forget about this. Forget. We're not moving to the question. I'm asking him: is Jesus 100% God? And he can't give an answer. The reason why he can't give an answer is because if he says yes,
wait, what? Mohammed, here's the thing. You wanted to psychologize me and say I don't believe this, but I'm going to just return the favor here and say I think that my model of the Trinity is coherent, and you are insisting on framing the question a particular way because you want to insist on metaphysics. So you can try to win a conversation for your audience. And look, I get that. But however, the problem is you agreed to everything that I built up. You agreed to the aspectivalist metaphysics, and so that's why you're going to the is he 100% God route.
Are you aware that your view has some rebuttals, such as the problem of divine monologue and the violation of eternal love, and these other logical.
He doesn't even understand what you're talking about, so he's just bringing some random shit.
I was actually low-key excited when he started talking about this because I was like anticipating maybe like, well, how can aspects ground like personhood, objections, or like stuff like that, right? I have no clue what he's alluding to, and when he talks about that.
He was not.
That's just like a ChatGPT thing or something.
He was not thinking that far ahead. I'll tell you that.
Challenges. Are you aware of these?
We don't need to go to all these, man. He doesn't. No, we don't need. Well, honestly, this is going to too much.
Yes or no?
We're asking simple question: is Jesus 100% God or no? He can't even answer that. He says the question's wrong. He can't even answer.
It is. Yeah, it's look. If you were familiar with the aspectivalist account of the Trinity, you yourself would understand why that is a silly question to ask, and that's totally fine. I am disappointed. Hey, really quick, actually. Hey,
they're gonna boot me off out of here, and we're almost at 2.5 hours here. So let's. Any final thoughts, guys? Tim?
I think that this was just kind of very informative for everyone. Just like kind of what happens when, you do try to reach across the aisle with the olive branch and really do try to come in with some decency. This is what you get. So I think that this is all a lesson for us to be just think a little bit harder about our strategy with people like this. And I think that we saw with you towards the end there, you realized that strategy was no longer serving you, and it was time. It was time to get.
Hey, I in my defense, I stepped it up when I needed to. But yes, I understand. But look, I'm not a debate bro. I'm not a rhetoric maxer, whatever the kids are saying these days. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna just say it. Like half of these TikTok like crackheads that with the way they debate, like yeah, I'd probably get smoked. I would get smoked by these crackhead Ret Max debaters, and I'm okay saying that because like that's not how truth is identified.
Absolutely.
So that's fine, man. I don't really care about that. Clueless, what do you got? What do you got? Any last thoughts before we go into super chats?
Yeah, I think I agree with Tim. Like, it was kind of I don't want to say a waste of time in totality. I think it was a waste in the sense, like, I don't think anyone came out with any conclusions beyond what they probably already had, like, implicitly thought going into the debate, like listening into it. Like, if you are a Christian, you probably thought Mohammed Hijab was going to do a poor job and not understand anything that Thane was going to say. And if you're a Muslim, you thought Mohammed Hijab was like a big, strong, and beat his chest and completely destroyed and intellectually fondled Thane. Otherwise, like, there's no other, like, there's nothing that came out of it. I think, like, optically, to be honest, it looks worse for Hijab, right? Because, and I think I've told you this before, then, like, retrospectively, when people are on the second watch, they're going to look and they're going to say, like, like the Leibniz law thing, like, Thayen did not say that he disregarded that. Why did he just immediately say, oh, well, you're throwing that out, right? And I think, like, your sort of tactic and your approach to this, the second watch is really important. And I think that really does cement a lot of people's positions on who they think did better and who conveyed their positions better.
Appreciate it, bro. All right, let's go. Let's power through the rest of these super chats. Random Christian with Jeffrey Epstein Dahmer glasses. I'm Jeffrey. I don't know why did I say Epstein. I'm programmed to think Epstein whenever I see the word Jeffrey now. Dahmer glasses, two of the greatest Dawa minds in the world. I think this is a continuation of the last one. If Allah doesn't impose ordered, then he doesn't govern the world's laws, which means laws come from outside of him, so he's not omnipotent, which isn't theism. I'd have to think about that. Wait a minute, this isn't a debate, this is just gaslighting. I mean, yes, that's the overwhelming majority of what happened to Lamb and me, or attempts to do that, because we're not intellectually weak individuals. Looks like biblical armor is back on top. You didn't follow the script, so you got refuted. W. Lamb. Lamb, is this the same as Euthyphro dilemma? If so, what prevents a Muslim from saying morality is grounded in God's nature?
Yeah, we didn't get that far. The Euthyphro dilemma is like the first sort of branch you would go through if you say the commands are in of themselves moral features or the truths. If they do go that route, I have a completely different, like, part of the argument that addresses it.
Are we going to see the based aspect relativism, aspectivalism, I think is what you're thinking about. But yeah, you did see that in here a little bit. Again, go to the Inspiring Philosophy Academy channel if you want to see kind of a deeper exposition that Tim and I did with Dr. Sijuwati. At several points in the beginning, I can see Than actively exerting patience, trying to stay kind, but then he started to snap a bit at the end. Can you blame him?
Awesome.
Is Mojab okay? He seems even more confused. Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm like low-key a little confused because, like, he did not act as uninformed as he did with me, as he was acting with logic, if that makes sense. I actually just don't know how to make sense of that. So, Magic Arabic plus Dawa script gets super annoying. Than, you happy that you have interaction with argument? I didn't get any interaction with the argument, sadly enough. But hopefully one day, maybe. We'll see. I feel like when you talk with these guys, most of your brain power needs to go towards implicit social power play. They just abuse your charity. Yeah, this is actually part of the reason why, like, I'm like, do I just even interact with Dawa guys at this point? Yeah, like, that's a serious question I'm asking myself. Like, if debating these guys means I just have to do a WWE match, basically, it's like, do I want to step into that ring, or do I let other people who are willing to do that type of WWE work do it? And I can just kind of be in the background, make some of the videos and stuff like that, and do the charitable conversations. I don't know, man. It's just like Tim and I have been talking about that for a while. That's something I'm actually trying to sort through. Even just to keep the conversation flowing. To hear your argument and attack with Gish Gallop, just like Momo didn't understand what the Bible was, Muslim scholars trained in logical fallacies. Mohammed Hijab was found to be a liar in British court, dishonest, fabricating evidence. He was willing to do that under oath. What is he doing on a live stream? Yeah, I've heard about this. I don't know all the details about that, but Dan is listening to MH like I already did that. Mujab thinks ADHD is a formal debate methodology. Well, unfortunately for him, nobody can out ADHD me. I'm just medicated, so. If you have two candles, it makes a bigger flame. I didn't watch that debate, but I seen that clip.
Yeah.
What? I don't know how to read this. What's happening here?
Soul over I love you, bro. I have no idea what that even means, bro.
Cosmic again, bro. I was laughing historically the entire time. Than's micro expressions per gold. It's a good way of putting it, actually, because like as I'm watching myself, it's like I don't really have big expressions. It's the tiny little face twinges that happen. Dan, who's worse, Hijab or Paul Williams? I'm gonna do this like NFL Hall of Fame. I'm gonna have to wait a little bit because right now I have like the immediacy bias and I want to say Hijab. Read the below message blocked by YouTube filter. I don't know. That was a while ago, bro. Sorry. Is your transformation name Thanos or Thanatos? Yeah, Mike. I mean, Tim, did you catch when he called me Thanos?
Yeah, I thought so. When I first listened to it, I was driving, and so I was just playing the audio, and I thought that you specifically put your name as Thanos because you've like done that elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then when I watched it, it just says Than. And I went, you didn't even introduce yourself as Thanos.
No. I don't know if that was a mistake or if him like trying to throw me off or be an insult or something. I have no clue. It was just, that was funny. One micro critique is that the magnet analogy is better than the battery because the battery has things that contract it, which is a distraction. I can tell you right now, Cosmic, that was not happening.
Yeah, I agree.
Then literally just said it's predicative because he knew MH wouldn't understand aspect type. Yes, this is exactly what happened. Dang, Apollos. All right, we're not going to go there. Because we don't want to be degrading. Don't return fire with that kind of stuff, you know. It's simple. I want to sleep in because I'm tired, but I also want to go to work because responsibilities.
There you go.
Thank you for the gifted Inspiring Philosophy membership. Dawa narcissism needs to be its own DSM mental disease. I was kind of alluding to that, like saying like there needs to be like a psychological study. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Honestly, Than, I think using the electromagnetic field and electric and magnetic forces might be a good thing to run, assuming they know basic physics. I've run that before, and I don't know. I need to find a better analogy, apparently, because like okay, I don't even want to call these analogies. These are just like applications of the metaphysics. That's it, right? I don't know. I need to find something where like it's just like you're dumb if you don't deny it, basically. So when's the mubahala? It's on Mohammed Hijab, I guess, to decide that. Good job, Dan. I am working on rhetoric tips we talked about on Discord now. It will be in your inbox soon. Very confident that you can be a great debater. Thank you, Ricky. We will see if I become a great debater. But again, I'm totally fine saying I'm not a great debater. I really, like, it is what it is, man. Like, what I care about are the arguments good at the end of the day? That's what matters more. There's no interaction with your argument, but Allah made it appear as if it were so. From a political debate, from the political debate side, the left uses the same mental gymnastics as the Dawa bros. It's no wonder they're as thick as thieves in political influence. I haven't debated much on politics, so yeah. All right, guys. I am tired. So, really quick, guys, again, Lamb Apologetics. He is in the description of the video. Go sub to him or else. And also, again, if you want to learn and be competent in a lot of especially the Trinity stuff that we talked about in this video, in this stream, I do not have the time to teach you that stuff. At least not in a one-on-one setting. But you know who does? Tim, over here, through Worldview Mastery, coaches through Worldview Mastery. He is
Can
on
I
our
share my
inspiring.
screen real fast?
Yeah, please go.
Yeah, so just to give you guys a little glimpse into what we got going on. When you join, right? Had plenty of people pop inside here. Joshua C. Jawadi is coming to give a private lecture for us right now. Fully got 60 people. Many have graduated out. This is what it's going to look like. And when you pop inside, you get all these classroom modules. There's like 35 plus videos that I've worked on specifically, never uploaded anywhere else. Live calls. We go live every week. Get a private resource library, access to interview lectures, everything from how to be confident in conversations, how to defend your worldview, all that stuff. That's what you get when you get inside, and 24/7 access to me. So if you want something like that, it's easy. It's just a link away.
Awesome, guys. All right. Time to go to bed. Tomorrow we're doing another stream, by the way. My friend Caleb Jackson is coming in, and we're going to be arguing about miracles. So if you are a Muslim, if you're an atheist, I don't care what you are, if you're not a Christian and you want to dispute that these modern day miracle claims that Caleb and I will be showing in the very beginning are not evidence for Christianity, come fight us. Mubakala. All right, guys. I'll catch you all later. God bless.
You made it to the end of this video, which means this message matters to you. If you want to see more content like this reaching people for Christ, you can help make it happen. Your support makes these videos possible. Click the link below and donate today. And if you want to go even deeper, consider joining our Patreon community. You'll get early access to videos, behind-the-scenes content, and a place to connect with others passionate about this mission.